Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching, and the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. That's typically what we do, but when there's a Friday the 13th on tap, we got to switch it up a little bit. We called in our hall pass. We had 3 left that we could discuss, and me and Jamie decided the other ones, it'd be really cool to talk to somebody on, not like it wouldn't if somebody talks to us from Friday the 13th, 2009, but not like we wouldn't talk to them, because there's few of the ladies in this I would talk to, but I would talk to everybody in this movie, but it would be cool to go back and talk to somebody who worked on 2 and 3, because they were monumental in the franchise. The first time you see Baghead, you see like grown Jason, and then the first time you see the hockey mask. So a lot of fun with those. But wow, before I talk about, I thought this movie was in New Jersey, because all of the accents for the people that are non-main characters make me feel like I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas. But before I talk about anything, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm pretty good, Doug. How are you doing?
Tired. Long day. But you know what it is? When we do this, it's fun. It's always special talking to any movie sequel with you. When it comes to Friday the 13th, because just a few weeks ago, we went to the Mahoning Drive-In, which I have not had a chance to write. I want to pen a love letter to that drive-in, because that was one of the greatest nights of my life, because it was really culmination of being a kid that loves movies. Seeing a movie in the movie theater was like always my favorite thing as a kid, but seeing it with the sky and the stars above it, it's like something special. What do you think?
Yeah, that was my first drive-in as well, so it definitely was a cool experience. But I'm glad we saw those movies then, because my feeling on this movie, I feel like it's not a Friday. I mean, granted, yes, it's Jason, the story and everything else, but he does a lot of non-Jason things in this movie, and I just feel like...
what do you mean, take motorcycle keys?
Well, take motorcycle keys, like he kills locals, like he goes to locals, the houses of, the local people and kills them there. Like he doesn't do that in the other movies, unless, Egan can correct me later. And he runs. I mean, he runs hard. Like, so I don't like it. This would be a good movie if it wasn't a Friday the 13th and it was just a typical hikers in the woods and you got a crazy guy living in the cabin killing everybody. That's what the movie should have been. I don't like it as a Friday the 13th.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say too much more before we bring in our horror sequel expert. But what I do like about this, and it's kind of cool that we just covered the Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I know that's like more meta, and it was cool that the way that Wes like did all those callbacks to the original film. This one was pretty cool too, because I think they did that, unless they just got lazy with the writing. But there were so many like, hey, let's use this kill from another movie. So maybe whoever wrote this was like, oh, let me put these things in here a little bit.
Before you get to our guest, I mean, listen, there are definitely some cool things. I mean, I think the whole beginning was great, because they did a very fast recap of 1 and 2, kind of, so like that was cool. Again, they were good aspects. I just feel like, again, I guess they try to make Jason their own, kind of thing. And it just, I maybe just because I like the old Jason and how old those movies are. So I just think it would have been better as a separate movie. Not to mention, I hated pretty much 98% of the characters in this movie.
Oh, 2%?
Well, I like the guy looking for his sister. He's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is cool. And you know who else is cool? Our horror sequel expert. I couldn't name all the sequels that he's covered. Definitely some really terrible ones and then some fun ones. Friday the 13th, he did Final Chapter with us, which was like, God, that was so long ago now. That was 3 years ago. The amazing Chris Egan. What's up, Chris?
I'm back, baby.
Yeah,
it's been
back.
a while. Definitely been a while.
Yeah, I had some good sequels on my list. Fly 2.
Didn't. Oh, that was fun.
Final Chapter.
That was
Texas
a
Chainsaw?
pre-recording with video. That was a non-video one. That was just before COVID.
Just me sitting in the dark.
Sitting in the dark. But yeah, so Egan, obviously you saw that. Do you see I'm sure you saw this in the theater, right?
I didn't.
Ah. I saw this with
Yeah.
my ex on Valentine's Day.
I remember that story.
Well, not even on Valentine's. It came out. Yeah, it came out on Friday the 13th, February of 2009. I think I went the next night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ish.
No, this was the time where I was real, and I think rightly so. I was real iffy about a lot of horror movies in this era, like the early 2000s.
You mean you
so
didn't like the new ones that have been?
Oh, like
You're more old school?
Halloween, Texas
What was it?
Chainsaw.
Well,
All this
that,
happened
but-
at this same time, right?
Yeah, I mean Texas Chainsaw was like 03, and then Rob Zombie's
Oh, Nightmare.
Halloween's like
Nightmare on Elm Street.
07. That was the year after this.
Okay.
But like just this era, I wasn't real big on a lot of the stuff that was coming out. There's some for sure. There's some good stuff in this decade and in all genres. But yeah, for whatever reason, I waited till this hit DVD, and then Nicole, my now wife, and I rented it and watched it, and I had fun. I think back then I liked it way more, which I think with each subsequent viewing over the last 15 years, my view of it has gone down. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Well,
This
it's
movie
funny.
was like if you had like AI write this movie, it had all of the. That's the thing I
Yeah.
kind of liked with it. I know, Jamie, you're right. They definitely did like Jason. They wanted to make their own Jason and change some of the characteristics that we like know and love. But I do love that it was like, all right, we're gonna have a rich asshole. Yeah, like that sketch on Key and Peele, like
Yeah.
how they're gonna do like the next movie. It was like, all right, we're gonna have the Asian guy that's a stoner. We have the black guy who thinks he can beat everybody up. That's like a model.
Friday 13th. They have every category.
That's what I mean. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
cool with that. Like, do the same thing. I'm fine with that. Have the like the good girl, which that was a cool little thing that they did different. They did do a lot different. That
There's
kind of
some
like
different
made you.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
I-
they also tried to force the 80s sex like down your throat. I mean, it literally was
It's-
like
it's crazy.
so many
That's
like
what she's.
But no, actually,
Yeah.
when this came out, the writer said, or the writers, I don't remember who it was now, but I remember them talking about how they wanted to kind of hit a bunch of the beats from like the first 4 films when Jason is still human. So that's why he runs in this. That's why there's the baghead. There's, we see him get the hockey mask, all that stuff. So they were kind of like, we wanted to have like sort of like a greatest hits of a few things from those early movies, and then everything else is kind of new, which there's a lot of swings in this. Some connect and some don't.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I appreciate them trying to do something different, even if it's not a wholly successful movie. But there's worse
so let me-
things out there.
Let me ask you a question. So in the beginning, when they do the flashbacks and everything else, and I don't remember the first movie or the second one. I mean, I remember bits and pieces, but in this one, again, they do a quick recap of the mom, which is cool, and then you see she's mad because they let Jason drown, but he's standing there watching through the woods, so he didn't drown.
I think that just plays on the whole kind of there's that continuity disconnect in the original films that it doesn't quite make sense, and you kind of just have to hang with it. It's, did he drown? Is he inhuman? Did he not drown and she was mistaken? Why is he a boy and then he's a man? Now, granted,
Well, you get past that in the old movies. You're like, it's not that
and for
important,
me,
right? You just
for
move
me
on
in
to
the
the next one.
originals,
But
and
I feel like in this one, it's just like he doesn't drown, so he's still
Yeah.
alive. He's still living with her. So why is she this angry to start killing people?
I think she's supposed to. I think she's supposed to think she thinks he's dead.
Oh, so he's not with her.
Yeah, he's a mentally challenged young man. He's out in the woods, and maybe he doesn't know how to communicate. It really doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I think
no.
it makes less sense in this than it does in the originals, because at least in the original one, you can kind of you can just say that like when his appearance at the end of the original is just a dream, right? So Alice wouldn't know what he looks like, how old he is, so she knows the story, so that's what she's imagining. He comes out of the lake, he grabs her, it's just a dream.
Correct.
So by the time part 2 comes and he's an adult, he doesn't look the same as what she saw. He is grown, and I think, and it is supposed to be that he didn't actually die. His mother just thought he died, and he's out living in the woods. So that's
Okay.
so then his whole killing spree starts with, avenging his mother, which is essentially what they're doing here.
Correct.
And fun fact, because I'm a Trekkie, the woman playing Mrs. Voorhees in the flashback in this is from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Her name's
Like a
Nana
main character?
Oh yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, her real name is Nana Visitor. And she was Kira Nerys on
Wait, that's
Deep
her
Space
real
Nine.
name?
I
That's
know.
not a
Her
Star Trek
name sounds like a Star
Yeah.
Trek name.
Yeah. It's spelled like Nana, like Nana, but it's pronounced like Nana
Okay.
Visitor. Yeah.
And
So
her Star Trek name is like Elizabeth Williams.
her Star Trek name's Kira Nerys.
All right, that sounds less Star Trekky than the non, whatever.
Oh man, but yeah. So let's get into this movie. So it's so funny, like when it comes to like Platinum Dunes, you get Michael Bay. Like you seeing his name, you're just like, but nothing. Nothing. Does something blow up at the end? No, right? So no big
Just that dock.
explosions.
Well,
he was
Jason
tame.
explodes through the dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the house goes on fire. I mean, does that count?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, when they knock over, yeah, they burn little Jason's. When you see his name on that bed, that's a little trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got questions about that house. So.
All right. So we kind of covered a lot of the flashbacks to the original. You get these scenes, they reshot them. Like Egan said, Nana was Mrs. Voorhees in those flashbacks. And this movie's first 23 minutes, man. Some really familiar faces too, especially like Ben Feldman, because this is like pre anything. Superstore wasn't on until probably like 2014, 2015. So he wasn't, right? Is that the guy from Superstore?
I think so. I never watched that, but
I never did either.
It was right before. This is right before he's on Mad Men, right? Am I crazy?
Oh, was he a Mad Men? Oh, I didn't watch that.
I watched that back in the day. I was obsessed.
Okay, so he's in more than this. But
There's definitely a handful of familiar faces in this opening sequence. Yeah.
So, and you're right. I mean, it goes very fast. I mean, there's so much going on, but it seems like a very awkward trip because you got two couples and one single guy.
I mean,
wouldn't that be like an awkward kind of trip? Like, because clearly exactly
we've gotten
what
that
happened.
a few times.
Have you? Oh, okay.
No. In the movies, we've gotten that a few times.
Oh yeah, okay. It just felt like again they literally did exactly what I expected the other two couples to do, and this poor guy is punching the clown in the woods. So
he is. Yeah. Well, no. Their whole plan. Could you imagine your friends? Hey, let's go camping, and it's like, oh, I know this great spot. It's like, oh no, I know this great spot, and then they're really taking them to the spot. So again, these guys are all dead. None of them survived. But like these guys killed their friends essentially, putting them into harm's way over just weed. Somehow they figured out where some weed was. They were using like an old like a GPS tracker, and that's how they were figuring out where it was. And it's
that tracker looked like it could have been on Star Trek.
It's like Ghostbusters, like do.
But
yeah,
my thing was this. Forget Jason, right? They don't know about Jason. All right, there's no talk of anything like that really until the one character he brings up the thing about the
story which no one ever
Mrs.
heard
Voorhees.
of.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So,
I know.
So no one's scared, right? But let's say you know about this giant pot field in the middle of nowhere. You think maybe there's guys with guns watching that pot field?
Oh, I know.
Now in this, granted, we learned that like those guys are they're long dead, probably killed by Jason. So literally no one's there. But in real life terms,
easily,
there would be some dudes that are gonna kill you if you find it.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a Southern thing. So it's like they wrote this script, and whoever wrote it,
this movie is not New Jersey,
and totally forgot. Oh shit, this is supposed to be New Jersey. I know the scenery is never going to be the same because they'll never do that because outside the first one, everything else is like California, Alabama, like all these different spots. But like the fact that they had like Southern accents, and then now Egan, that makes sense. Like that was like my dad used to watch some show on that. People like they're protecting their weed crops. It was like one of those wacky shows, but it was like what a silly kind of storyline to have. And that's why I thought Jason, maybe he was involved with the cartel. Because the first like group of people he kills
that was
all
Jason's
has to do with the weed.
That was Jason's
He's just out there eating it.
Yeah. He kills that other poor guy in front of his, can we say girlfriend?
It's,
no, there's a lot.
You know what I had well, I guess we'll get to him, but I had the thought during that first scene where I guess we'll get to it briefly. That hick in the woodshed starts talking to Padalecki, and he's like, "Yeah, you want to buy some weed?" And I'm like, in any of the old sequels, this would be funny. Like it'd be a quirky character. There'd be maybe a little silly music cue. This guy's just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
Because it's
every character.
It's that era of filmmaking. Yeah. Everyone's a piece of shit, or everyone's annoying, and there's no like real sense of humor to it. It's just, we're gonna make this guy dumb and annoying, so Padalecki doesn't like him, and then when he dies 20 minutes later, you don't give a shit.
Right.
Whereas like a lot of the goofy characters in the old ones, whether or not you like them as a character, you're still like, ooh, they got it. Like, ooh, you feel a little bad.
In the old ones, there's a little innocence to that.
Yeah, totally.
Like, again, look at the rich guy who meets the biker for 2 seconds. He's already a dick. Like in seconds. Like, so you're already like, again, everybody, like really, just, again, they gave everybody an annoying, like, you don't care if anyone dies in this movie. You really don't.
Yeah. Yep. And he's the one, I guess he's the one Michael Bay connection outside of the director. Because he's also,
the rich kid?
Trent. Because he's also in the first Transformers movie. He's Megan Fox's boyfriend. Wait for it. Also named Trent.
Is there a connection?
My headcanon, he's the same person. He lived through a Transformer attack just to get killed by Jason like 2 years later.
That's funny.
He plays a great dick. He's on
he's a piece of shit.
Recent, like the last 25 years, he plays a great asshole. Whenever you see him show up, it's always great. Like he always, even in You season 3, he is so good in that season.
Oh, I didn't even know he was in that.
Oh, that's him from You?
Yeah, he's the swinging couple from the neighborhood.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad he's still getting work, because I thought he was kind of dried up after like this era, like, because I looked at his not his IMDb, I looked at his letterbox, so it just shows his movies, not TV.
It seems he plays the same role in every movie though.
Yeah, he's like a dick bag in like 20 horror movies.
Sign me up. I'll play a dick in every movie. Or
he's the new Johnny from the 80s.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's his last name?
Zapka.
Zapka, yeah.
So another canon issue, like the other movies, like when time jumps and stuff, when he's telling that story, he says, this was 20 years ago. When that guy with the glasses?
Yeah, I think it's he's speaking in loose terms, because it does say 1980 at the beginning of the movie. So it would have been, it was only like 23, 20,
well,
5 years prior.
Yeah, but the Survivor.
It's 29 years, but
yeah. Again, wait, 20 years? That's like.
But again, I find it hard to believe only one person knows the story.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but it's I guess it's one of those things that, like, in real life we don't talk in formalities, we don't talk in specifics all the time, right? So if I say, hey, this is 20 years ago, but it was really 24 years ago, you still get what I'm saying.
I'd call you on it, Egan. That's how I am. But I feel it's gotta be.
I see it all the time when people like are nebbing each other, nitpicking over like lines in movies online, and I'm like, not everyone talks in factual specifics in real life, so you don't have to expect it in every movie.
Right.
So you just take it as a general, this was 20 years ago. It happened, whatever.
Gotcha.
He should have been closer.
Son of a bitch. He dies for it.
But I love that he's like explaining it, and then he's like, I'm pretty sure the place was called Camp Crystal Lake, which we know. And then you had like the great like the banter's good again. I don't know, it's like you know what to expect. Like the way the characters speak and the way they interact with each other. And it's like comforting because it's not like they really tried to reinvent the wheel too much, really just with Jason, but everything else is fine. Over sexualized. You have the one girl that just like is smoking hot, and she's like, "Yeah, let me do that. Let me just like start getting naked, rubbing lotion all over me." Right when my buddies, this guy is a single guy here. Yeah, let me give him something to think about. Like right when he's like right there, you can turn around like that, and she doesn't care.
I have a comment. And I'm not. You guys know me, and I know a lot of people out there listening don't. I'm never one to body shame, and I don't talk negatively. What the fuck is up with her tits? I know they're fake.
Oh,
but
bad
like,
job,
holy shit, she needs her money back. Like nothing about what she's doing, and and let's say I've seen this movie 10 times over the 15. I don't even know if it's that many times, but every time I'm like, no, thank you.
You know what I think is because of the tent scene, it makes it look better when you see the shadow.
That first time she takes her shirt off,
that wild.
lighting, the lighting on her is so bad.
Oh yeah,
it makes it look like she's got like paper mache boulders. Like they look so horribly
like
textured.
You're the 8th grade science project.
Yeah. So every time I'm like, I feel so bad that like they made like, and then make her take her shirt off.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Listen, when you watch a lot of these 80s horror movies, you do see a lot of that.
I mean, you see those big natties in the 80s.
But you do see a lot of the fakes.
Oh. Yeah. Anyway,
so Whitney,
sorry to all the ladies out there with fake tits.
Well, no, if they're a good job, hey, there's good doctors out there.
Sure,
and there's also good doctors, Somebody's got to barely pass med school.
A lot of time has passed since 2009.
So Whitney's boyfriend, I didn't catch his name because he was in the movie for too long, but he convinces her to stay because she wants to leave because she's like, I'm getting such a bad vibe in this place, which she obviously turns out she was right with her vibe. But he says, let's have sex in a cramped tent, get wasted, and blow chunks in the woods. That was his like, oh, Romeo.
But I mean,
he's got a good sense of humor.
They weren't there that long.
Yeah.
And they're leaving the single guy alone right away.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why did he even bother go? Like, that was ridiculous.
Gotta fuck.
And he's going to walk in the woods like that by himself?
No way.
Yeah.
I got to get a cock
Christian.
block. Yeah, you got to go. Right? Yeah, dude. What a song to die to. Night Ranger.
Honestly, I think I really love how it kicks into him just walking and it's just, that takes over the whole sound of the film because it's we're like in the headphones with him.
He puts it in, so it's really low, and then he gets he readjusts. It's cool when they do that.
And he walked far away because when he was telling the other guy about the weed area, he said it's a half a mile away.
Yeah.
So he walked a half a mile into the woods.
Yep.
No way.
Mr. Christian's like only like it's like 4.5 maybe tops. Yeah, unless he was power walking.
He's power walking.
Yeah. Even when he finds it, it's like, wow, this is great. I'm like, I don't know. I would just wait till the next day. No matter what. What am I gonna do?
What's he gonna do?
Absolutely.
Nothing.
He has to turn around and go back. Yeah.
But man, you see Jason. I know again he does different things. Very hulking. He's very like Kate Hodder-esque, like Part 7, just how he moves around. And the bandages on his head, like bandage back, because it looks, obviously it's a bag. It's like a sack.
Yeah.
But it looks like bandages, the way it's like over his face, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Well,
I like
running Jason is frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, because the guy is a big guy.
He does run in the first couple of movies. Like, he really runs in Part 4. Especially he's like running through the house and stuff. Yeah. This is different though. This is like, that's like your dad chasing you. This is like the Incredible Hulk coming after you.
Yeah.
And let me say,
outside linebacker coming at you.
Jason has traps. I mean, like he's like a very smart Jason.
Yeah.
He's very crafty.
There's a lot here that I feel like, and so the director is Marcus Nispel. He also did the Chainsaw remake. So he's the other Michael Bay connection. One? Yeah. So that's why he was tapped to do this. And there's just, I liked what he did with that. He's doing like his own version of the sweaty, hot Texas summer, and he's trying to translate that. Which I mean, hey, you know how fucking hot it gets here.
It does.
You know,
I know.
We're a different heat though.
Just
We're
give me a
swamp
packet of
ass heat.
pork roll on the counter.
Yeah.
Just give me something.
So I don't do. I mean, do they say in this that it's set in New Jersey, or are we just assuming
the plates that Ryan Hansen, the car that he steals, are New Jersey plates?
Okay.
I think it's either there or when they get to the gas station, you see on the Tahoe the plates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's it.
So the hell was I saying? So I get what he's trying to do. But he's using. I think he's using too much of that Texas chainsaw flavoring in this. I don't really fault him for it because it's a pretty good looking movie overall. I think there's some stuff that kind of looks, of its time and not that great even then. But again, the old lady at the house that like Padalecki talks to, like I said to Nicole when I had it on her, I was like, she's such a Texas Chainsaw like side character. Like she does not belong in Friday the 13th. Oh, yeah. But yeah, he's doing the Leatherface stuff or like, yeah, it's not Jason. Like Jason doesn't set up like traps and stuff.
No, I can, like you said,
I can appreciate this take on it though. Like I don't hate it.
But that again, that's part of the whole thing, right? What I said, he's a listen, he was a young kid who was challenged when he was younger, and now he's got. First of all, I don't know how they get tunnels in the house like that, which is ridiculous. He's got traps everywhere. And he also has a major anger problem in this movie.
Oh my God, yeah, dude. You don't want to piss him off when you're not home and he expects you home. He gets angry.
Like the other Jasons never show emotion. He shows emotion in this movie. Like he really does. Like,
I mean, I'm gonna push back on you there a little bit because like I said, in definitely in 2 and 3, he has some emotion. Even so much in now I can't remember if it's a dream sequence or not, but in 3, there's a sequence where he lifts up the mask and smiles at the final girl, like, haha, I'm gonna get you.
Oh, really?
I don't
remember that.
It's creepy.
Really? I don't remember that either.
It might be a dream sequence, but at the same time, she's dreaming about the fact that she already had an encounter with Jason at one point in the past. That's why she's afraid to go back in that movie. It's a lot, but there's some emotion in those early flicks, especially. And then I think how we just rewatched Jason Lives, but there's even with not pulling the mask up, there's a humanity there even when he is zombie Jason. There's almost there's a sense of hesitation, humor.
Right? There's a pause, like he's hesitating.
Yeah, he thinks.
But I mean like the anger that comes out multiple times in this movie, that he's throwing things around in his house.
Yeah. It's a bit
moving
different.
the canoes.
Rage.
He's
really, like Latimer in the program, dude. He's ready to just throw around shit.
I think one of my favorite moments in this one is when he goes down and he's talking to Whitney, or not talking to her. He's like, he's making sure.
Hey, Whitney. Hey, baby.
He's checking on her that she's still there, and she pulls out the locket with his mother's picture in it, and she says his name, and he looks at her like a recognition.
Because no one ever calls his name, and it happens twice in this movie.
Yeah, and
it happens at the end too.
Yeah, and the reason he's kidnapped her is because
looks like his mom
sort
of resembles his mother, which is a thing from the other ones. Yeah, but
it's like you call back to the second one. So it's like, hey, let's I'm gonna kidnap my mom.
Yeah, I really like the little glance down that he does though, like this, like it's like a shock that he's hearing his own name.
Oh, when he's like looking at looking at the locket. Yeah,
because you could tell it's like part of him knows it's not his mom.
Correct.
So and that's the part that's like, like I'm gonna he's like almost like tilting his head like a dog does. But
he's smart enough again to kidnap, chain to the bed, that's so not Jason.
It's instead of a bell system.
I'm trying to think of like what that reminds me of, because it's not really. It's a little bit of Leatherface, but I feel like there's something else out there that they're pulling from that it's not Jason.
Like
it's not
a typical killer in the woods.
Maybe like Tourist Trap or like one of those movies.
I mean, that's really what it is. And I mean, throw Jason in there. But yeah, I mean, But like again, the tunnels. This cabin's in the middle of the woods, and there were like multiple areas they could run around in the tunnels. How big is that? And how do the tunnels get there? Ridiculous.
I don't know. Something they could have mentioned. I don't know what they could have thrown in, but the fact that Whitney and her boyfriend are going into like, again, they see Camp Crystal. Hey, isn't that part of the story? And then they go into the house. They see the Jason on the bed, but I'm just like, and they keep walking around. She's like, oh, this is kind of weird. It's like, well, could you imagine walking? Like, as soon as I would see anything that looks remotely, like, recent, and honestly, I would never walk into a random house in the middle of the woods.
Would you ever, if you find if you're camping, like we went to Camp Blood, even at Camp Blood, it was and you saw a house in the back, you're going to walk into it in the middle of the night? You wouldn't wait till like the morning? Like, no way.
I don't know how to answer that, because part of me is like, hell yeah, I'm going in.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm too much of a I'm too much of a scaredy cat now. Like being a dad, I don't want anything to happen. Emerson was like, "Do you want to go skydiving?" I'm like, "No,
I
don't know risk."
Do you like haunted houses?
Like attractions?
Like walking through haunted houses?
Not particularly, because I know there's like an actor that's gonna like hop out and like,
spook you,
scream in my face, or slap me on the ass or something.
So you go into a cabin, you have the unknown that's going to be in there. So I hate haunted houses. I absolutely hate them. When I go, I put my daughter in front of me and make her go first.
Well, just a side note. I used to. Side note: I used to do I was on a ghost hunting team, with one of the guys who eventually was on the show Ghost Hunters. That's a whole other. Yeah, it's a whole other chapter of my life.
You were hunting ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have like the Ghostbusters thing?
We had like recorders, like what you see on TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
Interesting. Well, we'll have to discuss
No,
that.
it wasn't my equipment. Yeah.
You know what? Can we interview Egan next time?
We might have to.
All right.
But yeah, no, honestly, if I find a way into that house, I might.
Doug, would you go in there? Would you go in a house like that?
No. Maybe I was younger, because I used to put myself in bad situations, getting in the car with strangers in my 20s. You're telling me the beer's over there? I'll go in the car with you. I never met you before.
I'm more hesitant with like checking out like abandoned asylums and like hospitals and stuff as much as
that's even crazier. Like the one in Morristown.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't even drive near it.
Part of me,
I see it. It gives me nightmares.
Well, here's the thing: is part of me is like, hell yeah, let's do this. The logical part of me is whether or not ghosts or whatever are real. I'm Mulder. I'm a skeptic that I want to believe. But whether or not ghosts are real, there's 100% like a homeless man that's gonna stab me in there. That's the worry.
There's nothing good that's gonna come out of going in there. Because you find a ghost probably gonna kill you. You go in there, you find a homeless guy, he's gonna kill you. So you go into something like that, nothing good is gonna come out of it. So there's really no need to go in.
Yeah, I know.
No need at all. But
when I was like 19, it would have happened. Now that I'm 38,
done it.
I have a child.
Got to ease back.
I don't need to like update my will already.
Yeah, don't do that. So now after this, so they see like they get the heebie-jeebies. They see the Jason on the bed. They find the locket with the photo. Hey, this kind of looks like you should keep it. Then you come back to the campsite, and like the silhouette of sex in the movie.
It was Austin Powers.
It was awesome. Exactly. It's so funny.
It was so comical the way they were doing it. Like it was so forced and comical. Like
it's like that, and the was it Jason Goes to Hell, right? The tent scene. Is that Jason Goes to Hell?
Yeah, but did you see was there a silhouette like that?
Yeah.
No, but it's like. Is it? Yeah, because and then like the way like Jason comes into the tent
and rips.
Oh yeah, well but this is like like she's bent over, like they're giving like a full like. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's it's very graphic for a movie that's not. It's like, it's weird. It's like obviously you don't see anything, but it's like, all right, this is pretty serious. Like that was very serious to see that.
So it was very serious.
Yeah, it's a rated R movie.
I know, but to see it in that, it'd be like honestly, if they showed more. It's like one of those things, like you'd be like, okay, this is what's happening. But then your mind runs wild when you're not seeing it and you're like you're filling in the shadow.
Maybe I think it's almost worse. Like, honestly, I think the way they did it.
Always.
It's that decade's weird for stuff like that, because now I feel like we're moving away from like sex scenes and stuff, which there's actually a lot of articles about that, like how like we're becoming more like even like younger generations, we kind of want to see like they want to see less sex in movies. They kind of just want to see.
Well, they're not having sex because they don't go to parties or do anything.
Yeah, they're not cool.
They just want to see. They don't interact that way. They interact.
Yeah,
like,
they want to see the story unfold. They don't really care about sex.
Who cares
scenes.
about stories?
Yeah, but think about like think about like the '90s and like every other movie was like a sexual thriller, right? Everyone's fucking and getting stabbed. Whether it's a horror movie or not, it could be like I think your parents would come, like especially like me and Doug's age, like our parents would come home.
Well,
I know you're a little older. You're on that.
Little,
you're on.
You don't say it like that.
Few years older, yes.
Well, I don't. I mean, in the '90s, were you like sitting home with your parents, like waiting for movie rentals to come home?
I was partying in college.
Exactly. So my point is like they don't make movies for like adults anymore. It's either like, and look, I love these fucking movies, and I think there's too much negative rhetoric, but like the Marvelization of things, like everything is kind of like it's fun, it's kind of for all ages, and maybe there's like one scary moment, but they don't make like sexual thrillers animously. It's either
they don't make
like
good movies anymore. It's superhero. I mean, like it's I mean
that's that's obviously it's a generalization that you can make, but like there's a lot of good stuff out there, but it's harder to find than it used to be.
That's what I mean. Well, this is also why I was watching a movie from 1950 last night. So,
but it's like they try to make these like mid-level budget films now, but instead of putting them in theaters, they go like right to Netflix, and they're either fine, but you forget about them the next day, or they're like absolute pieces of shit, and you definitely forget about them the next day, and like you're not talking about them the way that like I think about the movies I saw in the theater like in the 90s, even as a kid, like because my parents would take us to almost anything as long as it wasn't like something insane, but like I saw like David Fincher's The Game in theaters. I was 10 years old. Like my parents just took me to stuff like, and I would see like all these like and that's a great movie, but even like these like mid-level movies for adults, they like just they don't exist anymore. And I feel like
I think part of it is because TV shows, miniseries are big now, right?
Yeah, there's
so
that
like
too.
all the creativity is going to TV shows, not so much into the movies.
Yeah. So between like 2000 and 2010, like right where this movie falls, you almost get like and it comes with like a lot of like the torture porn and such as well. You get this like oversaturation of violence and oversaturation of sex, but it's done in like such an over the top way that like now it's like, ooh, that's graphic, but you're not taking it seriously like you would like a Silence of the Lambs or like a Basic Instinct or something. And even Basic, that's a very campy flick, but like so like this era is it's like they almost went so hard on like the graphic side that it kind of like came around the other side to like not mean anything.
No,
and then also
it felt very forced.
Yes, and there's a lot of negative shit from this era too. There's like a lot of homophobia, and it's like sure there's that stuff in like the 80s and 90s and like I'm not going to use the F slur, but like that was in like every other teen movie in the 80s, like guys calling each other the F slur, and it was like and it's obviously it's wrong, but it's like playful homophobia. If you get what I'm saying, like there wasn't as much harm meant by it as there was in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where you just see like really it's just mean spirited, and that's where I really fall off on this movie. And there's not really homophobia in this, but like the whole movie is mean spirited, and while it doesn't touch on some of the things I just brought up, I feel like it's like sort of an encapsulation of this whole decade of movie, and it's like it's a mess. And it's just like angry, and I guess it's the whole like post 9/11 thing where like we were just mad all the time, or like we were trying to like vent our feelings in ways that weren't healthy, and it comes out in like every movie, no matter what the genre is. And it's this too. It's like it's like hostile. Everything's just mean and nasty, and you want everyone to die. And I don't even know if I made a point just now, but I tried. And
well, I think it's a combination of say that plus they're trying to recreate what was already done with Friday the 13th, right? They're big shoes to fill. So, by throwing in these sex scenes and throwing in these hated characters and throwing in and so I think it becomes a big mishmash.
Yeah,
Because
because they're playing on those tropes, but it's
Correct.
like they're not doing it the same way.
They're doing it in a much different way. Correct. I agree 100%. So
it's like instead of like laughing at stuff or feeling like when I throw on like a Friday the 13th, sure, there's deaths that like, upset me. Like, oh, so, no matter how many times I watch like part 4, for example, like I don't want Crispin Glover to get like a knife in the face. So
the guy who eats the chocolate in, what's his name? The chocolate guy?
Part 5.
Yeah, I don't want him to die. He was,
but like I put those movies on, they're comfort horror, right? You put them on, you chill. Maybe you're watching them alone, maybe you watch them with friends, whatever. Like when we were at the drive-in, I had a fucking blast watching those with you guys because they're fun, and we just hung out and I don't want to watch this movie with you guys. I thought maybe I like. So for example, like when this came out, I kind of really dug it. I was like, ooh, it's a new Jason. It's violent. It's scary. If Letterboxd existed in 2009, I probably would have given it a 4 out of 5. But today I went and I logged it at like a 2, so or 2.5. So
take that, Friday the 13th, 2009.
There's stuff in it I like, but it's not doing the same thing, and it's not even like, I'm not saying it has to do the same thing, but they hit it wrong.
It didn't feel
like
Friday
let's discuss
13th.
more of it because we're at 41 minutes and we didn't even get to the title screen yet.
The piano is out of key and they're hitting the wrong note.
And Doug, it's crazy because like so much happened before the title screen.
I know. I know.
It's crazy.
I hit the pause button. It's 24 minutes when the title screen. It's like 23 minutes and 57 seconds.
Greatest one ever. It's the
when
greatest
he started going on the killing
title
spree,
screen.
I was like, what else is left? Like
That's a whole
really
movie.
I didn't know like there's an old story going on because I don't remember this movie. And so
That's why it's good. Like if you didn't see a trailer and just blindly went to the movie theater, like, oh, I want to take it to so-and-so. Oh, it's sold out. I'm gonna see this one. It would be like very trippy. I just like get to the characters and everything. We get like Amanda, I think her name is, the brunette with the bad boob job. She gets like hooked over when after they're done banging, or in the middle of banging, she thinks the nerdy guy who just died is in the woods like peeping and making sounds. She's like, oh yeah, he's still out there. So Ben Feldman goes out. Oh my god, dude, that's rough. When he finds his buddy's ear attached
with
to
the headphone.
Yeah,
it's good. Well, it's pretty good.
But I think the girl had one of the worst deaths I've ever seen in Friday the 13th. I mean,
she
was
pretty
cooked.
Cool.
She was cooked alive. I mean, that's awful.
It's
nasty.
She was definitely a little burnt. And then we get, like we talked about, like this Jason obviously does so many different things. When Ben Feldman sees it, he's like, oh my God, he's walking, and he steps in a bear trap. So Jason not only has a bell system, tunnels, stealing keys, he is also setting traps. Like, did that? Like, where is that? He hung her up and then ran over and placed it. Oh, it was a good spot. It was a good one.
I think that's where you get the two different tones, because I feel like the sleeping bag over the fire, while brutal, that falls in line more something he would do. Especially, I feel like Kane Hodder's Jason would do something like
Part
that.
7, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden you get the bear trap, and that's where kind of the switch flips, and you're getting this new version.
Yeah. Has Jason ever in the past set a trap or no?
No,
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think there's anything like
not that I can remember. But again, it's like the gross, like Egan was saying, the hostels, Turistas, like, let's gross you out. Like seeing that leg, I wouldn't need to see that. Even if he was just screaming, zooming on his face. There's sometimes like when you don't see the kill and you're forming your own
worse.
like, what? Yeah, dude, give me the
his
blood
leg was
getting
gross.
thrown on the wall or something. But so man, and then how about the way he kills her? Like you get Whitney coming back. After her boyfriend, oh my god, dude, the way he dies is brutal.
How do you open a bear trap? How does it open? Because she seemed to struggle with it, and so I don't know. Like,
there's
very
like
short.
a release. There's like a release lever. Right? Well, I mean, there's different ones, but
you have to use 3 points. I think you have to use your foot to hit the step and then
pry
pull
it open.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it right, it's gonna snap right back.
It's either gonna snap right back, or you're just struggling with it, just causing more pain.
Okay, I wouldn't. I don't even want to touch a mousetrap.
Oh yeah,
So
I'd be like,
let alone a bear trap.
I know.
I'd be like, we're waiting till someone
100%.
finds us.
Yeah. No, frightening.
Or you know what? You're not going to make it. That's it.
We're taking the leg.
But Whitney's boyfriend, man, that one thing that's cool, the machete kills in this movie, like it going through the floor, and it's like run, get higher, get higher. And then when you think like he's gonna make it, and it goes right through his chest, and you're like, oh my god, dude, it looked good.
Just coming through the when it's like coming through the floor. And all I'm thinking is like the you're getting like the worst paper cuts of all time. Which is like such a like a minimalist like way of thinking about it, but I'm like, that's all I think is like, oh, it's like going like between his fingers and stuff, and you're like, that's like way worse to me than like getting like an axe in the back or whatever.
Well, you know, they say that
it's
can
so
be
slow.
more painful because it also cuts more nerves when you're cutting across.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're getting stabbed, it goes through. But if you get like a sliced, like or like a paper cut, it's cutting more nerves. So there you go. Paper cut hurts more than getting axe in the head.
Look at that. I like it.
Oh, and by the way, his aim is ridiculous in this movie.
Oh,
between the axe, the arrow. I mean, like, come on.
He's been hunting
he's like
for
perfect in arrows. That's like part 3 when he kills Bernie Lomax's girlfriend. He has great accuracy.
Ridiculous.
He's been hunting since 1980.
That's true.
I guess, but
he's the little wild boy.
He has perfect act.
I mean, yeah, roll with the axe is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was, and just the setup to it, just the way he like held it back for like a step, and like there was like form to it, like he practiced.
Oh,
it wasn't like, hey, this is the first time I'm doing this. He's done this many times.
Doug, if you put a dummy out there the same distance and you throw an axe 500 times, I don't think you're gonna land it once.
Oh, I want to do that. I want to try that.
I don't think you're landing it once.
I'll get the redneck guy's dummy. His girlfriend.
Another mannequin that someone's.
Hey, she's single now, right? She's on the market. But yeah, so just to get to we get to the title card, like that guy dies at the house. He gets the machete through the chest, and then Whitney comes back. Everybody's dead except Ben Feldman's just struggling. And dude, his is crazy. And it's like, why would he not hit her with the machete through the head? He'd shoot, dude, and that looked amazing.
Well, she also didn't say anything.
Cool.
She saw him. She saw him. He's there struggling, and she was silent. Like, she didn't say, look behind you, nothing.
Yeah. She's self-preservation.
That's smart. She's like, you know what? I'm not gonna get you in the bear trap, so you're screwed anyway. So if I warn you, what are you gonna do? Turn over for a little bit and get it in the second swipe?
Yeah. That's a great practical effect with the machete in the face. I'm assuming it's a practical effect. It kind of looks like a dummy when it goes through.
Oh, okay.
All right, Legolas.
So now we're at the title card. We get, it's like, whoa, my God. And then it's like, oh, we meet the real cast. Fine. And again, you get like great casting for this time. You know, Supernatural was already on for a few seasons by now, right?
Oh, yeah.
It must have been,
So it's like season 4 or 5 at this
point.
point.
Okay.
That was the girl. The girl was from Shark with what's his name?
Danielle Panabaker.
Yeah. She was
also in Piranha 3 Double D that we covered.
Yep. But James Woods. James Woods' daughter in Shark.
Oh yeah. We talked about that when we did Piranha 3. Yep. I think you brought that up too.
Yep.
And she was a main cast member on The Flash when that was on. She had 9 seasons of that.
What show?
The Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never watched that. But no, she's good. I like her. I'm surprised I didn't see her in like more movies. I don't know. Obviously, she's on the show.
She did a lot
of 9 years. That's pretty good.
She really does a lot more TV than film.
All right. Ryan Hansen, you got? I think he's always been funny in like stuff that he's been like in. What was the one with? Oh man, they're bringing it back too when they did like they were working at the catering company. Him, Adam Scott.
God,
he was on Stars for like 2 seasons. It's like one of those shows that got like so much love after it was off the air.
People are screaming right now.
What?
I said people are screaming right now because I can't think of the title.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know what it is, but
Okay,
anyway,
so
really
Party
good.
Down.
Jane Lynch,
Party Down.
Party Down, yeah. So,
So
so
we
you have a lot of
have-
people.
We have a very similar situation here. We have looks like two couples again,
Mhm.
and then the Asian guy who's bringing 1,000 condoms. There's
More than two guys.
there's-
They get two single bros. Two single bros are gonna hang
okay.
out.
right, and he has all the condoms. The Asian guy.
That's really weird. Yeah, I don't know why you did that. Where did Trent say his place was? It's a cabin on a lake with nothing else around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, he seems so anal at his house. Why would he bring fraternity people to his house when he's worried about the feet on the table, the drinks on the no coasters? Like he was like he should have known better. That I know he wanted to show off his house.
Oh,
But-
that's what it was. He wanted to show off for
Okay,
Danielle
she-
Panabaker to like show, hey, I can be cool. Because remember when she
Yeah,
puts him
and
on the spot? Oh yeah, you could take the
Yeah, she
top.
calls him out.
Yeah.
I guess
She calls him out on She calls him out on exactly what his mindset is.
Yeah.
He wants to show off the house, the lake, the boat, and hope that nothing goes wrong.
Well, you know what's funny? Like they don't seem to respect him. Like they really do everything he says not to do, and like he comes across as he's like the leader of them. You know, because he's
Yeah.
like the rich.
Yeah.
But really, like
rich prick,
none of them,
yeah.
I think, respect him at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that they've probably all been friends for a while, and when you've got like that guy in the friend group that's always like trying to boss people around, you eventually stop listening because
Yep.
it gets annoying. Which is,
Yep.
I think that's fully what the one guy does with the boat.
Oh,
Which is why-
100%.
Yeah.
He's
Well, Ryan
tired of
Hansen
this,
doesn't
he's
seem like
tired
he
of this
cares at
bullshit.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? As soon as he said, "Don't
Oh.
take the boat," you know what my first thought was? I'm gonna take that boat. And then the last person I didn't mention, Willa Ford, who was like, she had a
She's a
number one
singer.
song on like TRL, like no joke, like that must be water in
Which
high
one was
school.
Willa
so, like,
Ford?
she was the blonde.
Who-
She was the one
who
with
goes
Ryan
him.
Hansen.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't believe she gets nude in that. I remember seeing this in the movie theater and be like, oh my God, Willa Ford. And then she got nude. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like 5 years before she had the number one song on TRL. I'm sure her album did great. Maybe she just didn't have a good follow up. It's like, and now she's naked in a movie, which is fine. Your choice to do it. But it was like really shocking to see this person get naked.
And I didn't know she was such a professional wakeboarder.
That was insane. Why would you?
I also- like, I
why
know-
would you
like,
try that?
Like I know her name, but I did not know she was a singer or anything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like right after high school is like I have this like outside of most like movie knowledge, I have this like weird pop culture just like rock. Like I just didn't give a shit, especially with like music. So yeah, I had no idea who she was, but I did have a conversation about her tits as well with my wife.
Oh, nice.
I didn't really care for them that much because I wasn't sure if they were real or not. I don't,
I think
And
they
Nicole-
were fake. They look kind of
Yeah,
fake.
and Nicole, yeah, that's what I
Really?
said because Nicole was like, "Oh, they look pretty good." I'm like, yeah, but her nipples are small, which means they're fake. And she goes, they still look good. And then we also had a conversation about her death, which is
Great.
Nicole's least favorite part of the movie because the crunch sound
Yeah.
of not her death, but the boat hitting her in the head.
Oh, that was rough. That whole scene
Yeah,
was rough.
it's rough. It's
I
mean.
thought it was going to
it's
get grosser,
mean
though. I thought she was going to get chopped up by the
Ooh.
motor. Like the.
Well, you know what
I-
or something?
I,
Yeah.
I think just getting hit by the hull
Oh, yeah.
is it's so much worse because you almost expect the propeller. So when the boat just comes by and just bonks her in the head, and you know her skull is cracked.
Right.
Like if she doesn't go to a hospital, she is going to die. So when you just hear like the boat hit her, that's when Nicole was like, "Oh, I hate this part every time you watch this movie." I'm like, "What is it?" I was like, "It's the head hitting the boat, right?" She goes, "Yeah." She got up
So
and
it wasn't the
left.
fake boobs on the wakeboard. It was the hitting
No,
the
she
head.
liked the fake boobs. She preferred the fake boobs
Okay.
over me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Solid.
She's gonna
So
hate
the
that I'm
sheriff,
talking about this.
another guy that's solid
Okay.
actor at this point. The sheriff is a good guy. I
Have
like
you ever
him.
seen a cop with like sunglasses on? In
Yeah.
all these movies, the cops always wear sunglasses. Like they come over like they're, the cool, tough guy. Like I've never seen a cop with sunglasses.
Yeah,
Are you
no,
talking- are
it's
you
not
talking
as
about, like,
often.
just
It always is a
very
trope of the
specific, like,
asshole
Abe-
cop.
You've
Yeah,
seen it, Chris? You said?
Oh, sure. Like you're on like the turnpike and someone gets pulled
And
over
they
by
get
like
out
a
of the car. They leave the sunglasses on.
Oh, I don't know. I guess.
That's what I'm talking about, like-
Or you know what? I've seen them like take them off when they're talking to you, so they can look you in the eye and intimidate you.
Yeah, they always have to have that tough guy look with the sunglasses and leave them on all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I got pulled over. I got pulled over last year, and it was a woman cop, and she had sunglasses on, and not aviators, not the reflective aviators, but just like Ray-Bans or whatever. She popped them on top of her head to talk to me. You know
why I pulled you over?
At least she's lifting it.
Because I was going 45 and a 25. That's why she pulled me over.
Oh, Egan.
Yeah. I was hungry.
Try
I wanted to get a
25,
sandwich.
save lives. Free ad for that campaign. But so the guy, he's on like Desperate Housewives. He was Terry Hatcher's husband on that. He was also in Hostel 2, which is sort of around the same time. And but dude, the fact that again, like we didn't even get, and we talked about a lot of it, but like movie wise, it didn't even get to it yet when it comes to like the southernness of this movie. But even like this first line, the cop insults his team, saying, "You think we're a bunch of dumb hicks?" When he's talking to Clay that don't know nothing. I'm like, New Jersey hicks? Like right off the bat, they wrote this script for something else. Maybe it was penned as a different slasher, and they put, added Jason into it.
You've been to South Jersey, right?
But that's not New Jersey.
Like Southwest
No,
Jersey.
I know. Yeah.
It doesn't look like this, but there's some vibes of this for sure.
Yeah, but not people talking with a drawl. There's people that have summer teeth and stuff, but like not anything.
I know, even in Hellsdale and stuff.
I think out by where you live.
I have friends from Hellsdale. That's why.
There's some quite rural spaces.
Yeah. It's definitely the demographics are changing.
Again,
definitely
it doesn't
not
quite
as rednecky
look
as I would
like
think.
this, but you do come across I think there's a much larger to the world out there. There's a much larger like redneck country section of New Jersey than most people realize, because everyone thinks like the entire
lessly densely populated. Because that helps.
Everyone thinks New Jersey is just Newark from top to bottom.
Yeah. So this movie again in the era that a lot of like corny black jokes. Like why are you saying that? Because I'm black, and it reminds me of like. All around this time, because they did it in Varsity Blues, and then they made fun of it in Not Another Teen Movie, which is, I know, a few years prior to this film. But you get a lot of that, and it's just like it's like beats a dead horse each time they did it. That's the one thing I really did not like at all.
Though when she said what kind of music, and he goes, "Oh, rap."
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it was kind of funny. I mean, like if he didn't say that, then fine. But because I was feeling the same way. But once he said that, I was like, all right, it's pretty funny.
I was actually going to bring up that scene. It's like they're getting it out of the way. Like they know a lot of people are expecting it, so we're going to get it out of the way. I don't really care for it because like maybe you could have just left it out altogether. But I do like that they're kind of making fun of it in their own way.
Correct.
Because I do feel like after kind of that point on, everyone in this movie everyone's kind of interchangeable. Like nothing about him is a quote unquote black character. He's not a stereotype.
Yeah, he's like killed first.
Right. He's not doing anything like there's nothing stereotypical. No. There's nothing stereotypical about the Asian guy. They're all just a bunch of buds hanging out, and everyone's interchangeable, which I actually really like. And honestly, because he could have been the one guy smoking pot, right? It could have been like, oh, the black guy's smoking weed, but everyone's passing the bong around. Everyone's drinking.
Everyone's a typical fraternity group.
Everyone's the same. Like everyone's just chilling, doing their thing, and and that's one thing I actually do like about this movie is that for pros and cons, there's everyone's interchangeable.
Yeah. And Jason doesn't see color. He'll kill everyone. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about order of operations or anything for old school, or maybe some of the old horror rules. So at the same time, Clay, this is when he's like, dude, they had their run-in at the gas station, and Trent was an asshole to him right away about the flyers, which is like so fucked up, dude.
Trent is like, now Clay looks like he's about 5 inches taller than Trent. He's like a big dude. Like, he's like he's really going to be talking so much smack to this guy who he doesn't even know, like that, and he's lucky, like Clay, who seemed like a nice guy, like he was like very calm, whatever he does, just look for his sister. But I mean, like in the real world, he probably would have pounded Trent in about 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, and again, just how much of a dick he was right away. And then later on, like, oh, shouldn't you be passing your little fly? Like, the guy lost his sister.
I know.
Like,
That's,
Yeah.
and no matter what,
Next-
even if it was
next
any
level
kind of
douche.
flag of something missing, like a pet, still messed up. But
Yeah, don't
like,
say shit.
yeah, it's just like
It's
weird.
next level douchebaggery.
he,
And I
you
just-
know,
I-
they played his rich like douchiness, to the high level.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
actually, I feel like they did a good job cutting these characters together to kind of make everyone kind of look relatively around the same height, because I just looked, Jared Padalecki is he's an inch shorter than Derek Mears, who plays Jason. He's humongous.
Oh wow.
Who's that? That's Clay.
Clay, Jared
Oh, yeah,
Padalecki.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said he's a tall
yeah,
guy. So like,
he's 6'4" and Derek Mears is 6'5".
okay. So yeah,
Crazy. Yeah, he could have beat him into pace.
multiple times in this movie. So, which is maybe why later on when he leaves with his girlfriend, he doesn't even do anything. So,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Okay. See ya. So Clay at this point, this is when he's doing more. He goes to the lady that looks like, if you ever saw Monsters Inc., she looks like the lady that works at Monsters Inc.
Mike
Like,
Wazowski.
I was getting
Yes.
from the other Friday the 13th with her and Junior, when she was
Ethel?
cooking. Yeah, well, it
A
lived
little
in the
bit.
same town.
Yeah,
I see a
that's
little
true.
Ethel.
I can see it. Maybe that was a good
wish
amount.
I-
It'd be great if there was a Junior in the thing,
That
just a
would've been-
line, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or Stu.
I'm making you
She's
slop,
making a
Junior.
big pot. Yes, something like that. To
Shut
Clay.
Just yell, shut up.
But it was very eerie. If somebody said, "Oh, my sister went missing," oh, she went missing here. She's not missing. She's dead. And it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's a little.
And then she slowly walks away, and shuts the door.
Just shuts
Like-
the
That's how you leave it. I'm gonna do that next time. Like somebody that knocks on my door, like trying to sell something. I'm gonna say something very ominous and just walk away.
And slowly walk away.
That'd be good. And then
Just don't say they're dead.
move. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Just something like that. Freak them out. But Trent, again, there's some weird lines that people say, and if you're the person on the receiving end of the line, you'd be like, "What the hell are you? Whoa, how do you even come to this?" He says a line to her when they're like, kind of, because she goes, "Oh, why'd you invite them here if you're just so annoyed with them?" And then he's like, "Oh, I just want to hang out with you." She goes, "You want to go for a hike?" He goes, "I have a new move I've been practicing, and I need someone to try it on." So who is he practicing it on? And they never banged. I don't know how long they've been dating, but the way she pulled away, it was like, yeah, I'm not really that into you.
She left him in 2 seconds. I mean, like,
She
it
did,
wasn't.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
either
yeah.
like it's either like a sort of new. It doesn't seem that way. I was gonna say it's either a sort of new relationship, and they haven't done anything yet, and that's why he's so quick to get with the other girl, and clearly doesn't give a shit.
I don't
like
think it's a
when-
relationship at all. I think he's just trying to show off for her. He
Yeah,
likes her.
It's really like different scenes point in different directions, because sometimes it feels like that, like like he's trying to like get with her or whatever, and then other times it sounds like they've been dating for 10 years and she's just
Yeah.
fed up with him. Like there's no real rhyme or reason to like their relationship at all.
I just think because she looked infatuated with Clay from the beginning, and like literally like brought him over to the house to look like she was looking to hook up with Clay. And so like
Yeah.
I feel like she went there just to hang out with her friends, but she had no interest in Trent at all.
That girl's a smoke show. I remember her from Road Trip Beer Pong. She was one of the main girls in that movie.
She was in Shark with James Woods.
No, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the
Oh.
other girl. Was she in Shark?
The
Oh, that
the
was actually
blonde-
James Woods' other daughter.
are
He
you
had
talking
two
about
daughters, both
two-
these girls.
Wait, you talking about the one that hung out with them first and like sat down with them? When they were when they were smoke or
Yeah, the girl that ends
The
up
one that-
hooking up
yeah,
with
yeah.
Trent.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had
Which,
that
by the way,
really
that-
long sex scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That-
It's
Yeah,
like
the
he's
scene
like,
where-
hey guys, come out! You gotta come out. All right,
Yeah.
we're
the
gonna
scene
keep
where,
going.
the scene where she's like dancing alone
Mhm.
and the two guys are drinking or whatever.
Peak.
100%. That's the scene they're making fun of in Cabin in the Woods, right?
Oh yeah.
100%. It's the same
Yeah, I
thing.
never
The
put
only
two
thing
and
she
two
doesn't do
together.
But
is
that
I didn't
happens
realize it
in
till
movies
today.
all the time. It always that doesn't
this,
happen in
the
real
way
life.
this was. Yeah, no, it never happens in real life. But like the way it was shot, I was like, today, I was like, oh, that's what they're. I feel like they're specifically aping that in Cabin in the Woods, because that was like
They
2
weren't
years
making
later.
fun of Crispin Glover.
No, because
Was it-
she's doing like a sensual dance. She's
She's
like got her.
sexually dancing. What he was
yeah, she's
doing
like-
was seize your robot.
which they tried to up in part 5, and it didn't quite work. As much as I love that scene too, but
Oh yeah, that girl that did the cosplay when we were at Camp Blood.
Oh my gosh,
10
so
was
weird.
epic.
so good.
But at
A lot
the
of
same
good
time, so
cosplay.
again, Clay goes to the next place. He went to the old woman. Now he sees the redneck that trying to sell him weed, and he's like a complete asshole. But the line that I text you guys, like, what is that? Mummy fart?
To be fair, it does sound like something someone would say in the old movies.
It is funny, but it's just so
funny.
random.
What does the grave guy
sucks.
say? He
Oh,
said something.
they think-
fart head.
Yeah, they think
Fart
I'm
head.
a
Okay,
fart
so there you
head.
go.
All right. That's
Yeah.
a
No.
mummy fart. What is
Yeah.
the thing of a mummy fart? It's just like you see like the little end of the tie go like float in the wind.
Little
So so what's the fart head? What do you see? You see the top of the fart? Like there's a
It's
top
a
of the fart and
gumbo.
the bottom?
Or no, I would think, whoa, this is getting deep here. I would think it's a head full of farts. There's a lot of
No,
fart gas.
I was thinking
and
of fart head.
you open your eyelids and you have like
Okay,
gas
so a
coming
mummy
out.
fart is a
gas.
mummy that farts.
Give that mummy fart line to like someone from one of the old movies, like a real charismatic character actor. It kills. This guy, it's about as good as a mummy fart.
Yeah.
I chuckled a little bit, but I was like, oh, this guy sucks. 'Cause you
Like
just don't
somebody
like
real
him.
angry with somebody with the
and I'm not
finger
even really-
point. Hey, listen here, mummy fart. Oh, maybe
Yeah,
the greaser
something, yeah.
guys. The greaser guys in part
Yeah.
5. Hey, mummy fart. We gotta go to the movie.
And I'm not even commenting on the guy's acting because he's playing it clearly how they wanted him to
Sure.
do it. It's not a good character. It's just like this annoying. I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, not good. But he's
a
trying to sell the
nothing.
weed
It's
he
a-
found like right away.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, you want some weed? But dude,
Yeah.
when we cut back, we kind of mentioned it before, but like Trent wants to be like cool to impress Panabaker and says like, oh, I'll let you borrow my Tahoe. And then, and Ryan Hansen's like, really? And he's like, don't take the boat. And like I said
Mhm.
before, you know what I thought? As soon as he said that, I'm going to take the boat and we'll afford it. And you know what I thought? That's why I love you. Like she says the same line and like some other things. So they're pretty
Well,
crazy.
And then how about the fact, again, like I said, he doesn't respect him. He's driving like a maniac with his friend's car.
Insane. He's not going
Like-
to make it to the lake. He's going to kill
uh,
both of them.
And
100
has
so that just
never
shows you.
driven these back roads before.
He's
No,
never driven a car
he's-
before. He's like going left and right on the road.
He's driving like he knows this place like the back of his hand.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But again, that just shows you absolutely no respect for Trent at all. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's almost like maybe they all hate Trent, but then they
Oh,
use
yeah.
him because
Oh,
he's
sure.
the rich guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it's like when Chewie, Aaron Yu's character, goes out to the work shed and he's like, fuck. He's like, poor people call this a house.
yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
and he's like picking stuff on. He goes, you've never used this.
Yeah.
And he's just talking. It is this whole like commentary on like, it's this like this stupid scene, but it's this entire commentary on like rich people.
And they had a great
middle
line
of
in the
this
beginning,
movie.
not to go back, but when the girl, when the two buddies that were looking for the weed were talking, and he's like, what are you going to do when you get all the money? And he goes, I'm going to be rich. You know what rich people do? They relax. And it's like, you know what? That is true. I bet if you're
That is a
just
good
like
answer.
uber
That's a
rich,
good answer.
you can relax. But then from now, so he's on to do his next house, Clay. It happens to be Trent's house. And this is no joke to me. This is like one of the most awkward exchanges. Somebody hands you a missing person photo. Could you imagine saying, "Oh, she's pretty"? That's weird. That's
That
really
is weird.
weird.
Do you not
Well,
also
the
find
red-
it weird that she's inviting him into the house? This is perfect. This is a stranger.
That's pretty bizarre. And then
She
and
doesn't
then
know-
it's a stranger on top of your boyfriend hates him.
Correct,
Like even
correct.
if
Yeah.
your boyfriend's an asshole, your husband's an asshole, even if he's really not an asshole all the time,
She's just
and just had a
she's
bad
stirring the
situation,
pot.
which is insane.
She's stirring- There's literally
She's
no
also
reason.
going alone with him in the woods. I mean,
Yeah.
again, a stranger. Like she knows
Yep.
him for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So
Maybe she just wanted
She's-
men to fight over him. I've
She's,
always
literally-
wondered
she's,
it.
she's just stirring the pot, inviting him in the house. No, I kind of get the angle of like, oh, he needs to use the phone or whatever, but still, like, you know what, buddy, just go to the next house. Like, you'll
even
find
that's
a
not
phone.
why she was bringing him in. Like, it had nothing to do with the phone. She wanted him to hang out.
She
Because they
wants
offer him a
that-
drink in 2 seconds as soon as he's in
She wants
there.
to
Yeah.
run her finger.
Without a doubt.
She wants to run her fingers through that Padalecki hair.
They both have great hair. The two guys, very similar hair. Really, like they're obviously he's the nicer guy. Clay's the nicer guy, but It's very like
trying to-
similar, like
I'm trying to get my Padalecki hair going.
yeah, yeah. But he's very hesitant, and then pretty soon he's talking shit. Like he's kind of, even though Trent starts it, he gets into it. I wrote a note, and I don't know. I wrote this movie is kind of like a John Hughes movie. I don't know what it is with the relationships, but with Jason Edden, it was just very awkward situations. Just like, oh, this worked out. Oh, this character likes this guy. Oh, they're dating. Oh, I'm gonna go off with this guy. It was like a very weird.
Because again, Trent's character is like an '80s character, right? They don't.
Yeah.
There's no one like that in the 2000s. No one acts like Trent. You know, like that was
simple.
very. That's an '80s, like the blonde hair. Like every bad guy in the '80s had blonde hair, and like the rich guy. You know, so that's what it was. He was very '80, like the type.
Simple. Yeah, it's simple. Just archetypes. A to B to C. Move the story along.
Yep.
This guy sucks. This guy doesn't. You know. This guy wants to fuck.
Speaking of guys that
this guy
suck,
doesn't.
The redneck guy, we get him.
Yeah,
He's smoking weed.
So
Also,
why,
creepy.
Okay, so why does Jason go after him?
Because he's there.
Why?
Oh, because he's right there by the weed field, and that's where like Jason was hiding. I guess he's like in.
Well, that's where Camp Crystal Lake is. Oh, I was thinking. I really thought Jason just thinks whoever's in his. Maybe he saw him.
Yeah, you're in my
getting the
way.
weed, obviously, right? He probably was like, "Hey, what are you doing in my place? I'm gonna get rid of you." Because maybe you saw my cabin.
I only say that because, again, like, he's a local, right? He's been there for a long time, clearly. So, like, you know, a lot of times Jason kind of ignores the locals, you know.
Sometimes the hitchhiker, he kills. So there's some every so often that he's like, "Hey, you're in my way."
Yeah, you're right.
That's true.
You're
Part
right,
6,
though,
the
Doug.
couple hanging out, like, ooh, champagne. What's the occasion?
Yeah.
You're gonna get murdered. That's what's happening.
Yeah. You're right, though, Doug.
He doesn't like
It's
couples
'cause
having
it's-
sex.
It's because the pot field is right by his place, and he's like, well, he might have found.
So maybe he's the guy with
stuff.
the machete that's guarding the pot.
Jason, he's hired by the cartel, and they
got the
pay him.
machete. There you go.
They pay him. They pay him in campers. They
Just-
say,
that's-
"Oh yeah, guys, this is the weed coordinates." Jason kills them all. Everything's fine. He's
That's
happy.
almost-
We're
that's-
happy.
That's almost part of the problem with this Jason is that we're trying to right now we're trying to figure out his motivation for killing a guy, whereas the other ones were his motivation is just kill.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like it's giving us a little too much.
Well,
Is
when
he
you
doing-
have a
is he
kidnap,
doing
when,
it for a
when you have him
reason?
kidnapping one, and then he's doing like it just seemed like, you know, trapping one with his leg, and like it just again it seems like he's very methodic. You know, the way he plans. He plans.
If you took away like the bell system, if you took away all that stuff and you just had him with like a shack,
Correct.
and the girl chained up because she resembles his mother, that's
Agreed.
far less complicated.
Agreed.
And more like something we might see in an older flick.
The bell system, I think,
because now it makes you question like what is his motivation for each kill, and that's not what this movie's about.
Yeah.
That's what none of them are about, outside of like him going after Alice in part 2. That's literally the only time that he's going after someone specifically.
Right.
But that makes it fun. To think about in these silly movies.
I mean,
like,
I'm having more fun talking about it than I did watching it today.
Yeah.
That's usually how it is, Egan.
And I didn't. You know what? I didn't hate watching it again. I was like, okay, it's it's knocked down another peg for me this time around.
Yeah.
You know what it really was? It was just I had we discussed off mic, but I was like, it's just a long day. It's sort of a cloying, clanging movie. And I was like,
but it moves. It does move.
It does. It doesn't. I would say it does to a point. I think towards the end it kind of drags a little bit. But for the most part, it does move along. Yeah.
Correct.
Speaking of clanging, when he hears that sound above him when he's getting done licking the nipple of a centerfold.
So weird.
Really.
Also, actually, real quick, you mentioned was it Panabaker comments on the sister being pretty, right? This guy's a creepo. First, he goes, "Oh, have you seen?" You know, he's like, "Oh, have you seen her?" No, he's like, "Have you seen her?" And he shows him the missing person's file.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, "No, but I wish I had." I'm like,
so weird.
It's this guy's missing sister, and you're gonna make like it's not. No one talks like that. Even I've met real d-bags. No one says shit like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
That'd be tough.
It
To
Yeah,
hear
like
somebody say that, I'd be like, ooh, like I'd heard from that, I'd be like, man, dude, you're an asshole.
especially
you
to
just-
like the brother, like like if you're with your guy friends, whatever, and you sort of, I mean, it's still douchey, but you're
Yeah.
saying it to the one looking for his,
Yeah, it's a
like,
one-on-one conversation.
yeah, that's
The direct link to
Correct,
this missing
correct.
person. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just like
No, listen,
it's not.
it's douchey any way you
Yeah.
look at it,
Yep,
but again,
but it's
the context,
extra. It's next
yeah,
level.
absolutely.
And so you're hanging out with your buddies, and it's like, breaking news from NBC4 is missing college student, 21-year-old so-and-so. It's like, it's pretty odd.
What a piece.
I'd be, oh,
yeah, what a
dude, that's
piece.
pretty weird. What a weird.
That's-
Hey, buddy. But the fact that he goes upstairs, he is in this barn, and he's
Yeah.
got to have a lot of cool weapons, right? Or something, right? He grabs a croquet mallet,
I do.
and he's going up for a sound, which is like, why? If I hear a sound in my attic, like, no joke, if I really thought somebody was in there, I'm not going up there. What
Well,
is
I
the
mean,
point
he
of
might,
me going
he might
up
think
there?
it's an animal or something. I mean, he
Yeah.
lives in the woods.
Well, yeah. He either thinks it's an animal, or he does think it's like somebody looking for the weed. But still,
Or his
it's kind of
girlfriend.
like you don't know.
I think
his
I
girlfriend.
think he thinks
You
his
don't know what
girlfriend's
you're-
real. Like talks.
Oh, you don't
Well,
know
you
who
think
he
the
talks
talks
to
to
her.
there.
you think the man? Well,
Nah, he's
so
a
did,
totally-
I don't think it really talks, but he is he's having a conversation with it. Hey,
I mean, he's-
Gina.
okay,
He's a
there's
weirdo.
No
I don't
houses in sight. He's
Yeah.
like, there's only 3 houses in town: the old lady, his, and Trent's.
I don't
There's
think
no
he
other houses
actually. I don't think he hears a voice talking back. He's just.
Yeah, I don't-
He's just a horny weirdo.
100%.
However, the croquet mallet is absolutely a
Why
shining
is there
reference.
a croquet mallet there? I mean, that looks like a place that would not have croquet.
Oh yeah. Oh, who knows? Maybe the old mummy fart likes playing croquet back in the
That
day.
is
He
true.
did,
That's
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Oh.
100%. It's a shining reference to the book, not the movie, obviously.
Well, there's mummy farts in The Shining.
No, the croquet mallet.
Oh,
That's where it's an axe in the movie with Nicholson. In the book, it's an oversized croquet mallet.
Oh,
where he's
really?
Oh,
bash-
really?
bashing-
interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Look
whole
at that.
thing.
Deep
Oh,
cut.
that's so much better. Can you
Deep cut.
imagine, like, in the movie, he's using a
Ooh,
croquet
ooh.
mallet with the blue on the one side and,
And
like, it's
knocking
just so
it.
stupid.
Well,
Yes.
well,
So lame.
I won't get into it. There's a whole thing. It's an oversized croquet mallet for a reason, and it's not like colorful. It's like a big wooden.
Oh, jeez.
It's yeah.
Okay.
Moving along though.
Moving along. So he sees that we meet his ex-girlfriend Gina the mannequin, and he like talked about he dumped her, and he put her in like the loft, covered her, and Jason, man, when you see again,
Yeah, but
you
he doesn't
see
seem
that.
like he's over. He doesn't seem like he's over her
Oh,
for dumping her.
did you check her out? I don't know. I would be tough to be over
You know what? Her
Creepy.
boobs look better than the one in the beginning.
her. Both plastic.
Yep.
But when he slices the throat, it was
Oh,
like
my gosh.
again, it was like almost like aha, like when they show like the light on something when you see the mask, because
Yeah.
he knocks the bag falls off his head, and then he looks down and he sees the mask, like
And,
it's like
the,
lit
the
up.
one little beam of sunlight coming
Yeah,
through like a
the
hole in
beam
the
of
roof.
sunlight that pours in,
Yeah.
and it's like ooh, and I love that he looks in the mirror and he's like, oh, this is so me.
See, I
you
think in
know
the
what?
old one, has he ever seen himself in the mirror? Like in any of the
I
old
mean,
movies?
Oh, that's a good question.
know-
I don't remember
I don't know if
ever looking
it's-
in a mirror.
Like, I feel like he would freak out if he saw himself in the mirror. Like, this is what I look like? Like,
I mean, I don't know if like there's a scene like that at all, but he's definitely
I'm
he
sure he
definitely
stares
is,
to the lake sometimes waiting for campers.
he is he's supposed to know what he looks like. That's why he's got the bag. That's why he eventually gets the hockey mask.
he's hideous.
In yeah,
He's
He's
covered
in
it up.
public like that.
yeah, because in the
He's
beginning,
murdering people, but he can't let him see this real face.
yeah.
because it was the beginning of 3, he's running around without anything. I
Yeah.
don't think we don't see him, but
No, we don't. We just see like the back
Yeah.
of it.
Well, he's
Yeah.
shy.
Yeah.
He's
he
shy.
knows he knows how he looks.
A face only his mother could love. So maybe that's why
Exactly. Yeah.
he's always thinking about her. So now Willa is boobs out right away,
Mhm.
water skiing, and dude,
Wakeboarding.
the
Wakeboard.
is that what it is?
Like a professional,
wakeboard?
though.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
Yeah.
he's flying on that
Yeah.
boat, and she's like,
insane.
Yeah.
And
It's fun. It's a
the
good
music
scene.
is
It's well
getting
shot.
like the music is getting like a little intense, and you're like, wow, she's really going back and forth. And then he's just going a little too much, and she's swaying and swaying when she falls, and you're like, I forgot about the scene, but when he's like, oh crap, and he's like laughing after he like kind of dumps her, and then when he's turning around, but dude, that arrow, oof,
Out of the blue, I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I remember it, but I didn't know when, and it
But
really came in. And I was like,
look
whoa.
how far away he was, though. Like, the boat's in the middle of the lake. Perfect shot.
Olympics, USA, you want to win gold every year? Find Jason.
Like,
in
I
the woods.
would have felt better if, like, one was shot and, like, just hit the side of the boat, like, just like the first one, and then hit him. Like, no, the first one right away.
And they said, like, hey, what the hell? If Ryan Hansen was like, the hell was that?
Yeah.
And he keeps whizzing past him.
Like, accidentally hits, like, the fuel or something.
Right.
Something.
The boat's slowing down, and then
they
he hits him.
They didn't want to waste time. They're on a time limit, so they had to get it done right.
Yeah.
And then they had to knock her out.
I like it though. I like it.
No, it was surprising. I didn't expect it like right there. So
remember, he's been hunting for his food all this time, so he's
hunting people because according to the lady in the other, like the Southern redneck woman in the trailer, she was like, well, yeah, he a lot of people have gone missing over the last. I don't know if she said 20 years, but so there's obviously other campers that have died since that original group because they know of Jason killing campers, and the mom was the one that killed in that first incident. So it happened since then. We don't know how many.
And then again,
groups.
You're gonna tell me people that live in that same state never heard the story, never saw the news, never saw anything about a guy that's killing people. You know,
makes no sense because it's in the newspaper in part 4. It's on the newspaper cover.
Right. Of course it is.
On that, it's a headline, so it's like, all right, somebody has that.
I think, because in the originals, it starts out as sort of an urban legend, and then you have like all the weird things going on at the camp and the lake over the years, and then by like part 3, people know Jason's name, they know about a lot of the deaths. And then after that point, he's like, like he's a well-known like serial killer slash boogeyman figure.
Were there deaths before part 1?
Yes.
Okay.
So he drowns or whatever,
right?
Quote unquote drowns. Mrs. Voorhees, I believe, kills the counselors that were supposed to be watching him.
Okay.
And then it jumps ahead to, I guess it's like the following year.
I gotta see one again.
There's at the very beginning of the original, it's set in the 50s, and you see a couple counselors get killed then, and I think it's supposed to be like a year later. So she's already started, and
Gotcha.
then they talk about during like the whole beginning of the movie, like all these like weird things that happened, and it's like, is it bad luck? Is it Mrs. Voorhees doing stuff so that the camp can't reopen, which
right.
I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. She never wants them to be
right
in the open ever again. She doesn't want any other boys.
There's basically a handful of deaths that occur before like the main part of the original.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now Willa, she has bad head wound. She looks over, she sees Jason. She like is blinking. There's blood in her eyes, water, and then she looks again, and he pulls out the machete to show it, and then that's when she like starts panicking. She swims under the dock, and dude,
wouldn't you swim the other way?
Well, maybe because she knows that she doesn't have long, so she has to get something that she can like, maybe have a chance to like climb up on. But to hide under that, and when she hears it, I remember in the movie theater, the theater went apeshit. Because when it goes through and hits her, and the best is when he's pulling it out, and it's like,
and it lifts her out of the water,
and she, like, it's pretty funny, like watching it again after all these years. But oh my god, he doesn't mess around. There's, and then from here on out, it really gets going because after the terrible beer pong by Trent, and he won't shoot the boot again, I wouldn't openly do that, but if you agree to rules, if you lose 10 in a row,
well, that's
the
difference.
Shut out,
you agree to
you
it.
know what? You're dropping trow. You run around the house. It's the rules.
Do your own.
You gotta do it.
Don't drink from that.
Oh well, that sneaker looked awful.
Yeah, that nightmare set of Vans he's wearing.
Yeah.
Which the girl even comments that he's not wearing socks.
Yep. And he does it, and he does it terribly. It's like going all on the sides. It's like, all right, well, Trent could have done that.
Honestly, if you're going to do that, you might as well look like you're drinking it all, but let it spill all over you.
Yeah, like Stone
That's how
Cold.
you get out of it.
He drank like a sip of beer.
He's already supposed to be like shit faced at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then this is where so Clay and Panabaker at the same time that they're playing beer pong and Ryan Hansen's dying, they're at the camp. They go into like the counselor room. They go into like Jason's place and everything. And that's when like Jason, they're there and they see him and he's dropping off his victims. So he like collects them in a room.
But it also didn't look like it was that far away from Trent's house.
Oh, I don't think it was. It was pretty close. If you think about like when the Whitney runs later in the movie, it seems pretty quick, even when they leave. But it seems like they're inside for so long. Again, it's so hard to like continue. Like when we talked to Daniela, like it's so hard even filming a movie like keeping to like, all right, this is the way it should look in this scene or these different. When they come out, it's like, whoa, they were in there a long time. It's like almost like pitch dark. But again, the crazy things that he does, we talked about it, to not beat a dead horse, but when we see the setup and the bells and all that shit's fucked. It is crazy the first time. Like, could you be in that situation, like finding a tunnel and like you're hearing everything go off and you see him throw the body down there? Pretty crazy.
Well, and Clay wants to hang around a little bit. Like, she wants to get out of there, and Clay's like, no, wait.
Yeah.
Well, he felt the spirit of his sister maybe or something, but he didn't hear. Remember they heard a sound at the one point when he like tripped over the bell when they were leaving. They heard like a sound and he like got down and he just didn't hear it again.
Yeah,
because I think that's when Jason was pissed off, right? When Jason came home and he was pissed off and he was trying to like break things, but then that's when she pulled the locket out and he looked down and up and he was like, oh, okay, this is fine. Like, we're good now, babe.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, Jamie. It's a cool concept, but it doesn't feel like the character at all.
Yeah. No, like I said, if you took him out, like it changes the movie just to make him, let him wear the sack the whole time and don't call it Jason. I think it's a cool slasher movie.
Although at the same time, you know, it's a remake. The whole point is to kind of
I get it.
Something different.
They tried something different. I just think, to me, it didn't really work for me. But
I think I almost feel like, all the lawsuit nonsense aside, I almost feel like while this one was pretty popular when it came out, it kind of feels like that's why there wasn't a sequel. It's like they almost didn't know what to do with this version moving forward. I'm sure they could have found something.
Look, you just wrote a whole brand new story, just like all the other ones.
That's
why they have a little bit of leading from the other one.
How'd the movie do?
I think it did pretty well for like a February release, and then it did well on home video. And it's had multiple releases. Like the version I have is from the giant Scream Factory box set. I had it on DVD for a long time, but I think it did perfectly fine because it's a Friday the 13th movie. You're gonna get butts and seats.
Well, what was the time frame between this one and the series, like the last one in the series, Jason X?
Oh, X was 01, right?
Okay, so it's.
Yeah, it's
so people were excited. And then if they came out with a new Friday 13th now,
Freddy versus
it's going to do well, right? People are going to.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It's like anything. Same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. I think if they make a new Nightmare on Elm Street, the same thing. People will get excited about it, even though the other one was okay.
Yeah, I honestly think Elm Street's done. I think they've come to a point where they're like, we're never going to top Robert Englund. You know, it's such a different character.
Correct.
You know,
he has personality, so you can't replicate him.
Yeah, you get a stuntman who's a decent physical actor, slap a mask on him.
Correct.
He's Jason.
Correct.
He's Michael. Yeah. He's whoever.
Correct.
I feel like they need to let Freddy go. But yeah, so like you're saying, Jason X was 01 and Freddy versus Jason was 03. So this was like 6 years later and there's been nothing since.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Which is crazy to think about.
It is wild. It really is, like, to have that much of a gap in the movies. But maybe, hopefully soon. You
know what? With all the reboots and like Come to America, Beverly Hills Cop, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. And I
Well,
wouldn't be
it's more of
surprised
a
if
legal bat.
yeah.
There's a legal issue. That's
Oh,
the big
there is?
thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oh, I
I think
didn't know
it's I think it's mostly been settled at this point, but it was going on a long time because now
Yeah.
we're getting a TV series, like a prequel series from like I think it's like A24, and like it's gonna be on like Peacock or
for
something.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
about
wow.
like Mrs. Voorhees.
I think it's gonna be about Jason. I think it's gonna be like
Oh yeah.
what was going on with him between his quote
Oh,
drowning.
okay, we'll get some
and-
answers now. He's
Yeah.
building tunnels and making traps.
We'll figure out.
So
Picking
so
up
from what
bells and bear
it sounds-
traps.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be tied to the movies. It's not just going to be like a prequel in name only, where it's young Jason, but it's
Well, that's
set
pretty cool.
now or something. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
But outside of that, I think if they do a new movie, it's not going to be a sequel to this one. I find it unlikely that it's going to be like a new. I don't think it's gonna like if it's a new reboot, they have to do something that's so not like this that it can't feel like a sequel to this if that's not what they're intending.
No, I think
Yeah.
they would if they did it, they would go back to the old formula. I think that's what they would have to
I
do.
feel like they could attach it to the original series, kind of like how we had the reboot of Ghostbusters, didn't really pan out. They went back to the original series. They could do it. They could find a way to write it, but
Yeah, bring all the final people
the-
back, get them together to hang out, and then Jason picks them off in the beginning. So now, so Jason, I love that he picks up like things.
copyright.
He finds like the bag. He finds Clay's bag, gives it to the sister. Well, drops it in front of her. She opens it up, finds like the broken like
Why
GPS.
did he do that? Was it just
Yeah,
I was wondering
why.
why.
I don't know either. But they found
Okay.
like she sees her own photo, like, oh my god, my brother is
Yeah.
looking for me. Here's the missing, and then seconds, man, she is like doing MacGyver, breaking it up, finds the metal, and picks the lock, and she's ready to go. But dude, to leave again, the amount of bodies that were in that room, that's
Oh.
more than the people that we saw so far. I didn't pause it and count, but he's killing a lot of people. Like that was
Yeah,
definitely
probably.
more than what we saw. in
And
the
why is he
opening scene.
saving him?
For a rainy day?
Oh, okay.
You never
Well,
know, but he's a hoarder. He's a hoarder of dead
I guess
bodies.
Clearly,
There's
because he had about 6 canoes there.
There's a couple of the old movies where you see body parts. I think he's just stashing them. He kills them, and
Just hiding the body. He
Yeah.
knows to hide the body.
because even like up to like Freddy versus Jason, there's like that shack that he like wakes up in, and there's definitely like body parts in there.
All right. All right.
But that
I
chick
don't
in the Daisy Dukes, this is that scene. Like this is when they're, But you know one
I have
thing
thoughts.
that is really, I think it's COVID made me think different. Like I remember that was like always a back in the day thing. It'd be like, hey, it's the end of the night. Hey, let's open a bottle of wine and pass it around until it's gone, or a bottle of liquor. And it's like, I couldn't imagine that. And even seeing that, I get like skeeved out. It's so, it's bizarre. Like I've seen these guys just like do this age old tradition that I did all the time. And just to see it like now, I'm like, I can't believe I did
getting
that.
old.
Like how
You're
gross
getting old.
is that?
Dude, I
Well, no,
pledged. I mean, the amount of stuff that we drank and I mean, like, you don't think
Yeah, but
about
I'm
it when
saying
you're younger.
after
No,
COVID,
it's-
thinking
I-
like, oh, germs really mean
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's a mix. It's a mix
I
of
wouldn't
like
be
getting
passing
older
a
and
bottle
being,
with someone.
like, yeah.
Now?
No,
of
it-
course not.
No,
No,
it's
but I'm saying like if
it's a
somebody
mix
at a
of
concert would be like drinking Jack, some rando guy I never met, and he's hey, you want to swig? I would drink it. But I'm
Oh,
saying
you
order
would?
a
That-
Camp Blood. Yeah, back in the day, yeah. Now,
No,
no.
I'm talking about now.
that
No,
I
no
wouldn't
way.
have done. I
Yeah,
would have
no.
shared something with friends, but not like some rando.
Oh, no, not
always.
random.
But
Oh, what do you mean random?
you're-
So you wouldn't share a bottle with a random, but if I was at somewhere, yeah, no, random, fine, random, fine.
I'm saying I wouldn't share a bottle with
I
some
know,
rando.
but I'm saying that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like even thinking about
Yeah.
random hookups from like
Yeah. Oh,
back in the day, like the things that could have happened, like
well, we're well past.
well past.
We're well
that.
past. Well, no, not even that. We're well past a lot of bad things that happen from random
Yeah,
hookups.
yeah, yeah.
Let alone COVID. But
Yeah.
no, you're both right. It's age, and it's the age that we're in now. It's
Correct.
COVID. It's
Correct.
we're in
But
a
her dancing in
post-COVID
front of me
world.
might change it a little bit. But I do love the line that Chewie has no confidence in himself, that he says like he's got a better chance to fuck a penguin.
That kind of made me chuckle.
That was pretty funny. That's
Such a
of all
random
things,
like thing.
it
to
is.
say, right?
It's a random
not
thing.
like
It's a good
not like another
line delivery.
person like hey, better chance of fucking Betty White or something, or like something like this is an animal that's not close by unless
So
he's
you put
taken into a
so
zoo.
you think Betty White's easier than the penguin?
No, yeah. So, yeah. She's down, I think. Shoot,
Isn't
well,
she
not
dead?
now. She's dead now. She's down.
So
yeah.
she's much easier then.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yikes. But
Don't
yeah,
disparage. Don't disparage
Chewie,
Betty White.
So Chewie, I love Betty White. Chewie breaks the family chair. Trent's like, "Oh, you're an asshole." The other guy's so stoned and drunk, and he's like, "No, I can fix it. I just need tools." Well, the shed's
I
back
believe
there.
him.
So,
I believe him. I believe he could fix it.
So far
do.
away the shed.
Do you?
He's so confident. I believe he actually has the knowledge to fix it. Because even what's his face backs him up. He's like, look, he could do it. He could do it.
I don't think he can. I just think he's nervous because he knows everything is so delicate in that house that he's gonna get ripped by his parents. So he has no choice.
No, I really do. I think he could fix it. I think he's like that's like his secret hobby.
Oh, I don't.
He doesn't
think
have
so.
a
Fixing
girlfriend.
old family chairs, old wooden
He's
chairs.
he took wood shop in high school. He knows what he's doing.
Shout out to Daniel Radakovich, South Plainville High School. So then we go. So he's off in the tool shed playing hockey. You have Trent and the hot chick to that one song. I gotta write that song down. Because I remember it was like a pal of ours, Billy Wilson. He loved that song and he loved that scene.
Wait.
of this
By the
movie.
way, before that, so he could fix it, but he's high and he's drunk right now. You're gonna.
Well, I'm not
you're gonna rely
saying
on him.
he should.
No, I
I'm
know.
not saying he should in this moment, but I actually believe that the character,
I can believe.
probably sober,
Right.
I think he does know how to fix things. I think that's the
but
whole
you
reason.
think Trent would feel comfortable with a drunken high guy fixing it?
He
I
could
think
be that
he's-
perfect
I think-
balance. It could be that perfect balance
yeah.
of drunk and high that
Okay.
they offset each other.
All right.
I read
Yeah,
about
like,
it
I-
in books before.
I don't- I grew up not doing anything around the house, right? I'm fairly
Drugs around the
handy.
house?
Just no, I meant like fixing stuff.
Oh,
I'm
Fixing
fairly handy just because from like
Yeah,
figuring
but you didn't have
stuff
YouTube
out.
back then either.
Yeah, honestly, I rarely use it. I
Oh, really?
just
You
I just
wing
go
it.
nuts. I wing
Okay.
it,
look at this guy.
which is not the right way to do anything. But my point is, you sometimes have to believe what a character is saying. So I think it's a mix of he does have. I don't know why this is the hill I'm dying on tonight.
Yeah, this
But
is the hill that
I
you're.
feel like
yeah.
he can fix it. He is drunk and high, but he could probably fix it. And Trent is so concerned with getting it fixed
He
that
doesn't
he's
care.
like, just
Yeah.
do it. Do whatever
Correct.
you have to do.
Yeah,
You're right. Okay.
And
So now
then that gets him separated from the group. That gets
Correct.
him in the woodshed.
And then Lawrence is by himself, and he has to do it. You know, he's cranking it like the Stone Age to like the Sears like looking catalog.
And now he's gonna punch the clown
He's
In the
gonna
middle of
punch
the room. in the middle of the room.
Yeah, yeah. But Trent, the balls on Trent, like this girl that is obviously in love with him, like probably has been that friend around that's always wanted him, but he's into the other girl for some reason. Because maybe the other girl's harder to get, and he likes the
Mhm.
challenge, and he can have the other girl easy. But how about like she's on top of him, and he goes, "Oh, those tits are so juicy, dude."
Yeah. He
Perfect
remarked on them
nipple
multiple times.
placement. Yeah.
See, now she had real ones, and
Mhm.
he literally remarked on them at least like I think made 5 comments.
He was a
He
judge.
says he has the line of the movie.
And
Your tits are stupendous.
yeah, he does. Yeah, that was the end,
Which-
right? That was the third compliment he said.
No, that is it. It's either the first or the third. I think it's
Okay.
because I think then he goes on to like the juicy bits and all that.
Oh, it was okay.
Perfect nipple place and all that. But
Well, I think
it's something that me and my wife say to each other all the time because of this movie.
stupendous.
I'll say, hey, I'm gonna watch the remake again. She goes, oh, your tits are stupendous.
Oh, nice.
That's
What a dumb word.
but But when I was watching it today, I took a picture of it to send to you guys. That's what I was talking about before.
Oh,
But but like my camera like had a delay, so I got a picture. I had the captions on, so it has the caption, says "Your sister's stupendous."
oh, that's
But
amazing.
I got the exact scene transition where it cuts. So it cuts from her point of view to his point of view. So the left side of the screen is her topless on top of him, and the right side of the screen is him laying down with a silhouette of her. So it's like her body on top of her body.
Oh my God.
I'll send it to the chat.
Yeah, do
All
that. But you know what though? But it's almost like they're like, all right, we had about 2 sets of fake boobs, and we have to show the real
Yeah.
ones. I really just keep remarking on them
Your tits
Yeah, we have to keep
stupendous.
pumping it.
because they didn't say anything about the other ones. Like no one referred the other ones at all. But this one had about 5 comments.
Yeah, and Jason liked them because he was peeping and watching them, and then just when the
another
light
peeper.
goes on, when the
he's always
light
peeping.
flipped on, that's when he turned, and then we get Chewie. He finds a hockey stick. This is a man's sport, and he's like playing hockey in there, doing like spit. He's doing like spins, like he's like a professional hockey player. And then I do like the reveal of Jason's school with the light flickering. That was really cool. And
Yeah,
how
that
hulky
was-
he was behind him. Because he
that
must have
was-
been on
that-
Apple
that
boxes.
came out of
or
the
other
blue.
guy
Like,
was
that
on
was a
some-
good creep.
Oh, that was cool. Screwdriver to
Yeah,
the neck.
there's-
Eesh.
There's some good classic horror.
Yeah,
Like
that was
like
good.
the light bulb.
Oh yeah, that was great. And then just oh yeah, that's over quick. And then you cut back. That's when it's like, whoa, this is there's a long sex scene going on. 'Cause that's when Panabaker gets there, Clay.
Yep.
And then at the same time, dude, how like horrific is that for Whitney? She gets out, she's running, she sees the house, she's going to the window where they're banging. She's like, and then Jason just like snatches her up. He flies in, grabs her, and just pulls her off into the back home. He puts her back home, chains her up again, and she was crying so bad because later in the movie when we finally see her again, she's like so cried out, like, help me.
Yep.
Well, she's been there 6 weeks?
Yeah.
I thought it was longer. But I guess it was, yeah.
Well, no, they haven't
I
talked
can't
in a
remember.
month or something.
Was
Over
it
a
a
month. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if it was 6 weeks
Which
or
is 6 weeks,
months.
Doug.
But I feel like
6 weeks?
6 months she'd be really weak.
Well, you don't think he's feeding her?
He could be feeding her good.
Oh, he's giving her probably like squirrel meat and stuff.
Or human flesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That-
Or he's ordering.
No, but,
He's
I mean,
ordering in.
I'm
Just leave the pizza on the tree stump.
I'm of 2 minds with her escaping to be taken back again. On one hand, it is terrifying and it's heartbreaking that she gets away and he just immediately puts her back. But at the same time, it's clearly just like this. It's a sweaty script set up just so we can get to the whole cat and mouse section in the house, so he can just kill the rest of the gang.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm of 2 minds. Part of it, it's like, ooh, scary, like, oh, it's heartbreaking, she gets away. And then the other half is like, oh, there's 20 minutes left to the movie.
Yeah. And at this point, this is when like Lawrence is like, I'm gonna go out there, and he goes and grabs a wok. That was his weapon of choice. Again, there must have
Yeah,
been.
but it had sharp legs on it.
Oh, yeah.
It did.
It did.
Oh, it
It
was?
had like these triangle legs, so it was, yeah.
Oh my God! But when he goes out there and then he goes in, he finds his friend, his best. Oh, I do love that setup of like you think it's in the freezer and then he falls down like right above it, scares the shit out of him. But dude, you're right. When he puts up a fight, and it's cool when they do that for anybody in these movies. And then he's like, all right, I gotta get the F out of here. And then when he runs away, but that axe, bro.
Well, so not only the throw, but he doesn't even die from the throw. He dies when he falls backwards, and the axe goes deeper in his back. Like that was gross.
And then
that was pretty good.
and then Jason stomps him to fully.
Because he was pissed. Because it was almost like Jason forgot about him, right? Doesn't he?
Well, no. He throws the axe.
Yeah.
He falls down, and then it's. So he rolls
Something
over
else
on his
catches
back.
attention.
You
no?
see that he falls like on a log, and the axe slowly goes into his back further.
No, but then Jason comes up and stomps him to actually kill him, because he's slowly, it's impaling him slower and slower. and
Well,
then
he wanted to
Jason
give him a
comes
quick
up and
death.
just
They didn't want him to
yeah.
like bleed out like that.
yeah.
He's like,
See,
Lawrence,
he's
I
like
got
that.
it. Sears catalog. You know, look, I got it. You're lonely, dude. I'm gonna help you out a little bit. I'm gonna take care of you. Pretty good. He's very impatient, and he's like, let me get rid of this guy. Let me keep going. But how is he teleporting in this one? Because from the next cut, he kills him out there, and then he's on the roof.
Yeah.
The next time we see him, he's on the roof.
How did he get to the roof?
That quick.
He's- climbs the tree like a cat.
Oh my god.
Ridiculous.
Bree, I did like Bree's kill. I liked. Her kill was good, and then the way her body was kind of like desecrated afterwards. With,
Wait, how'd she
Trent.
die again?
She got thrown onto the. It was just.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
You think they do the old the switcheroo? She flings the shower curtain, thinking he's going to be in the shower, and was he behind her or he's in the next
He was
room?
right behind her. It was a window shot, and
Yeah.
There's
oh my
another
God,
one where like he just popped out of nowhere, like it was kind of like a little jump.
and slams her on top, slams her into the back of the door, and oh my god, dude! And then what's the name? Trent has a gun. He starts just firing a gun everywhere, and
Sounds about right.
oh my god! And then one thing I wrote down: why when they zoomed in on Jason the one time when he's holding her when he comes from behind? Why did they make him look like he has googly eyes? His eyes look weird. Like they purposely made him. It looked like
he's got
deformed.
Yeah.
Well, he is. I mean,
even
when he takes his mask
classic,
off, he doesn't look normal.
Yeah.
I know. It just looks silly.
Forget zombie Jason, but like even the first couple, he's got he has like one normal eye, sort of, and the other one is like half shut and like droopy and
Yeah.
But he kind of looked like zombie Jason in this. I mean, he didn't look human.
well, he's always had that, he's always had the deformed face. This he has like the long strands of hair, which is like a callback to part 2. Because after that he's just bald.
Yeah.
Well, at that point you got to shave it all off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't let it linger, right? People are going to talk about it around the office.
Yeah, I mean,
Myers,
Michael
Myers just talking to it with Freddie. Chucky's
He's always
laughing at him.
he's always had the doofy eye though.
Imagine being a cul-de-sac. Could you imagine if Jason walked around with a cul-de-sac, just walking around?
I think it would be a little less intimidating if he had that.
It would be silly, yeah. You've been laughing at him, even though he's still cute. Would kill me. I'd still be like, come on. But Trent is, I don't know what sound. I guess there was Jason making the sound in that room, but that's when he just starts firing the gun and he's shooting her body, and then he sees it and he's just like, whatever. He's like slamming everything and like slamming the door open. But he looked
like he never shot a gun before.
Never.
No,
just daddy's gun.
Daddy's gun.
But one of the coolest kills in this movie, and I think in the franchise, just the way it was shot, was the sheriff. Like that looked really amazing.
Why'd he come alone?
I don't know who called him.
Small town
Did somebody
sheriff.
from that house call?
I thought someone from the house did call. I forget who. I could have sworn, but why'd he come alone? Like, because if he came for a reason.
Right, they get like a call out before Jason cuts the power or whatever.
Right. But I mean, I'm assuming the call said we got a psycho killer here. You're gonna come by yourself,
or cut out before they say it.
This is the part where I started to not pay as close attention as I was fighting with a 2-year-old who didn't want to eat her dinner.
But when the machete goes through the sheriff. And it goes through the door, and the camera like goes through the wall. Oh my god, That was cool. That was a really cool shot. I watched it a few times because it's like, it. Not saying people don't attempt things like that anymore. It just looked really awesome.
I feel like the kills were cool. I mean, in this movie, they definitely did a good job with the kills.
Yeah, it's that the look of Jason, and there's a few other pros in this movie. That's definitely what keeps this movie afloat with the fandom. That's what kept me really liking it for the most part, this whole time.
So now they're ready to bolt from the house after they see Jason. They go. Trent goes right to the car, gets on the radio to call. Bree's body gets thrown through it. And then it's like, shit, let me go. I thought his kill was awesome. Just the way it looked, the guy in the tow truck pulling over, And I was like, could you imagine in a world somebody had the balls to write Jason pretending to be a tow truck driver? Like no words were spoken to make you almost like
All you
think
saw
about
is
it for
his
a second.
hand. Like
Yes.
who does that?
Oh,
He
the
was like
wave.
waving the guy over just with his hand. He didn't put his head out or anything.
But you know who that is, though, right?
Oh no,
Tow
I
truck
don't.
driver? No,
No.
it's the mummy fart.
That was the mummy
That-
fart?
Oh, he said his.
That's who. It's like his
Oh.
boss or whatever, his grandfather,
Really? He
whoever
said it
is.
was a tow
Yeah.
truck driver.
Well, no, because you see that truck at the barn.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
You know what?
It's
His license plate
forced-
should have
if-
said mummy fart.
That'd be
if-
pretty funny.
if it foreshadows the death, because when Clay goes to the barn, the camera pans around everything and it pans around the back of the truck with the spikes on it,
Oh.
and then into the barn where the young redneck guy is working
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Clay shows up. So
All
that
right.
so he talks about working for the old guy, he calls him a mummy fart, and that's
That's
whose
great.
truck it is at the end.
But that's cool. The hesitation of Trent, and then he's like, "Oh, come on!" He's shining the flashlight. Jason comes behind him, and he puts the machete handle through his chest. Right? Yeah.
That's what
And
it
then
looked
he-
like.
And then he throws him onto the. And I love that the mummy fart can't start the tow truck.
Yeah.
He was nice at to stop, and then it just
Doesn't
cut out.
care, just trying to get away.
And then he's like, and trying to go.
Yeah.
And then just when he starts it is when Jason can impale the body on there to drive away. Could you
Yep.
imagine like getting
It's
home the
dragged.
next day and just like going right in your house to be like, holy shit, the craziest thing just happened. Not even realizing you wake up the next morning, there's a dead body on the
Still
back of
hanging
your
there.
tow truck. Yeah.
Yeah, but
If it
he
was-
lives like it sounded like he lives in the South. He probably just leaves it there. Like like other people have like all like
I mean, he's
raccoon tails. Got the dead
Oh,
body
yeah.
hanging there.
Walk around like your raccoon cap. I got a preppy
he's gonna be
blonde
home.
boy.
He's gonna be home in like 5 minutes, though. He's gonna be home in
Oh,
like
he
5
is close
minutes,
by, yeah.
and he's got to know there's a dead
Oh,
guy.
of course.
He knows
like-
that got slammed on there,
He's got to go
and you
home,
can
go
see
hang
it,
out
and
with
then, and
Gina,
then
because he's dating Gina now.
as the truck's going around the bend, you see Trent finally slump and die.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. That was a good scene. But again, I mentioned this earlier. We were talking about the things that didn't make sense when they were trying to find, like his motorcycle keys were gone. So Jason took the keys, threw them into the woods, thought about their escape. Let me get rid of them. And my God, dude,
See, I would have liked seeing Jason on the motorcycle.
that would be cool. It would be cool to go so over the top in the next one when they get the opportunity.
That would
Just write
be
all the silliest shit that Jason would never do.
if Michael Bay had directed this and not just been a producer, that Jason would have been on the motorcycle.
Michael
with
Myers
the,
was in a car.
I mean
Yeah,
that's from
Michael
the
Myers-
start.
He's a good driver.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Well,
somebody
we
taught
learned.
him there.
We learned later on who taught him.
Who taught him?
Let's spoiler. You find out in
The doctor?
part 5 or 6
Ah.
who taught him.
Well, maybe in 5 days. I don't know.
Because they had to write that in. They couldn't just who cares? They couldn't just let it go. Part 5 or 6.
That's funny.
Michael had driving lessons.
That's. Oh man, but so now Clay and Panabaker, they go to Jason's house, and his sister's locked up again. And they start hearing the screams, and then they finally reunite after all this time. And Jason's there. He's on his way. But can you understand a hulky guy at the end of the tunnel when she
The
looks
way
and
they
she's like,
presented him, yeah.
he's here, and it's like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And again, this is kind of a holy shit thing. Not like I thought. Sometimes it's with these movies. I think I know her. She's been in a bunch, so she's got to like make it. But like when she dies, when
Mhm.
she hits a machete through the, oh come on, I got you. And I love for a second because Clay probably was into her. He was like, oh no, I can. Oh that'll stitch right up. Throw a Band-Aid on that. Machete like through the chest, and the sister's like, we gotta go. And it's like, wow, I was kind of shocked. I'm sure when I saw the movie theater, I was like, whoa.
Well, you thought 3 people were going to make it?
I don't know. Obviously, historically, that
honestly,
doesn't
it's still,
happen.
like I knew,
well,
I know it's. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had
No, I was gonna say like
multiple
sometimes
survivors, but
there's been 3 and some
But I
people.
will-
Guys make it?
ever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Kevin Spirtus.
Actually,
Mark's
the end of this
Corey
one.
Feldman. What do you mean? Multiple times Corey Feldman's around.
The end of this one is sort of an homage to the end of 2, because there's a guy and a girl at the end, and then Jason breaks through. But yeah,
I think it would have been great if his sister died after all this.
It's still that would have been shocking. But you know what? I think it is. I do like that. Hannah Baker's character dies.
Oh, I love it because it was so shocking. I love when movies do that. Like, this is a character that kind of like.
It's still shocking. Even when you've seen the movie a few times and you know it's coming, it's still shocking because you're like, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh yeah, she's the final girl. You know, and she's the only person that's nice to him the whole movie, like, and then right at the end, bam, and then the look on his face, it's not just oh, we'll slap a Band-Aid on it. It's oh my God, like you're dead, and he's wrestling with that, and he's got his sister there pulling on him, and he's like, this girl just helped me this whole time, and now she's dead. I have to let her go because there's no saving her. She has a machete coming out of her chest.
She's
I have to let her go and run, and he doesn't want to. It's really good. I think it's a really good moment.
No, like, look, he was a good character, right? He was like a very few nice guy characters in these movies, and he was one of them.
Yep.
And you thought he was gonna die, because after that happened, I was like, does he make it? Because he gets like, he's getting his head smashed around, and I'm like, oh my God. And then it's just Whitney versus Jason, and I'm like, whoa, is this really gonna happen? Like right now? But man, but good fighting. Clay does not mess around, dude. The machete miss, tackles him to the wall, so it's like pretty good. What's going on? But there is another teleporting scene, because Jason definitely pops up out of nowhere again. Well, because he's already in a place they're going to.
Didn't he already teleport to Trent? I mean, Trent was on the road. How did Jason get there?
Yeah, that was pretty quick too.
That's it.
That was
teleport.
But he's running. I guess he's a running Jason. So
that's
yeah. But that bit of road, it's like right.
Yeah, I guess.
Edge of the property, I think, of the cabin.
Well, he never gets tired.
It's probably like the end of the driveway.
Yeah, but the other ones, because they're running out of the house, they knock over like the oil lantern, the oil lamp, the fire starts, and then they go somewhere, and then Jason is somehow already in the next place, like sort of waiting for them. I don't know. But now we're at the end of the movie, so you get Clay and Whitney. They kind of do some callbacks to other movies, right? Using the use of the chain. Is that a little bit too barn. Like Jason Lives?
Hanging him.
Yep. Yeah. So from
it's like part 3. He gets hanged in the barn.
And the same shot when they walk in. It's kind of that same shot they've used in a few. Because they used kind of the same shot in part 5. Like it's like that kind of like 45 up, and it's just really cool to see that. Like, hey, let's throw back to the old one with even the camera angle, or how it goes. But so what did you guys think of the ending of the movie? Like, not compared to other movies, but what would you say? Did you want more? Was there something you would change?
Are we talking the final shot or just the ending of the?
Just the final,
the final bit of them on the dock and Jason bursting. So I like it because it's an homage to multiple of the older sequels where Jason bursts out at the end, and you're like, and the movie just ends, and you're like, well, maybe they survived, but probably not.
Yeah.
Right. I like that there's a little bit of an open ending, or maybe Whitney got away and Clay has to die, but whatever. So I like it from that point of view, but it does at the same time, it does like, it's hard because like when you watch the old ones, because they've been around so long, you're just used to that being the ending.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then you just move on to the next sequel and you're moving along, blah, blah, blah. When you get to this one and it's a modern film and you're used to, say, like a Scream movie where a bunch of people get away at the end, it's actually more shocking. It feels like everyone's dead. It feels like everyone's dead at the end and Jason wins and that's it. So I'm like of two minds, because it's like, well, maybe at least one of them got away ultimately, but probably not.
Yeah, but see, I do like it like that because it reminded me, it had an 80s feel to it. like
for
the
sure.
ending, because you don't see like there's no ending, there's no movies like that anymore that have an ending like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. That that was a big throwback, and I liked it like that.
Yeah, no, it was just good to see another Friday the 13th. Like, even just obviously us talking it, but for me, 2009, I didn't have the opportunity to ever see. I didn't see Jason X in the movie theater or Freddy vs. Jason. Just I don't know why I wouldn't have. But
Yeah, I didn't
definitely
see
this
them
one,
either
it was
for
cool.
whatever reason.
Like, I remember just seeing thinking of the opportunity to sit in the theater to see it was like for me pretty special. Now, Jamie, so that's Friday the 13th, 2009.
Yeah.
We'll go with our guest first, and not to go too, because this is a lot that we talked about, a lot of good stuff. Where would you rank this? Not to go through your full rankings, but where would you put this in out of the 12?
I definitely have it towards the bottom. I could pull up my letterboxd probably. I know I have it there, but I definitely have it towards the bottom.
Yeah.
I think the only ones I have underneath it are probably just because there's stuff in them I like, but like Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the ones I have under it.
Yeah. Jamie, what would you? You could pull up if you want to pull it up, and it doesn't have to be the exact thing. But no, I was kind of getting into that.
I was thinking the same too. And possibly 5. That's the ambulance driver, right? So
yeah.
But again, because 5 is still not. It's on the bottom of all the good franchise. I think everything else is better. So I would say it's close to 5. But then definitely below. I mean, X and Hell definitely below this one.
Yeah. I think that's where the drop is for me. Like X and Hell, it's like way.
Yeah.
Like I can add spaces. Like do 10 more paces between.
Yeah.
The 10th movie and the 11th movie. But this one I would put in that like 10th spot because I feel like all the other ones for me there's rewatchability. Like I can rewatch Freddy vs. Jason. For me, it's like, all right, cool. There's like a rewatchability to it.
I could rewatch part 5.
Yeah, because I love the Ethel scenes, the Junior, the enchiladas. There's like those yell at the movie screen lines.
I feel like this Jason didn't feel like Jason, right?
Yeah,
so
I think agree.
When you watch the old ones, even though they're old, it just seems like the same Jason in every movie, right? This seems like a new Jason, which again, obviously it is a new Jason. So that's why I don't like, I prefer so much of the old one just because it feels like a different type of Jason. I don't like this Jason. I like the old style.
Yeah, there's just no rewatchability for this. There's no characters like that I would want to watch it. And the other movies, I'm like, oh, I know why I want to watch this for Judy Aronson, like in part 4, all of these different characters that are good characters. Like they hit the characters that I kind of enjoy, that I like I said in the beginning. So I'm kind of saying like kind of the opposite. Like I love that they did do that, but they're just not likable or memorable enough. Like the lines or the way I don't know.
Yeah. No, and even though I rank like 9 and 10 last, what those do have over this one is originality.
Yeah.
Like I have problems with those movies. I have big problems with those movies, but at least they're doing something more. Yeah, they're
shooting the moon, like trying something
they're
different.
Wild. They're different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, whereas like I would watch this one over that for that familiarity of just like watching Jason kill a bunch of people. That's really the only thing that bumps it ahead of those, just because I don't like a lot of those choices, even though I can respect them trying to do something different. But yeah, so.
Well, yeah. So I hope you had a great Friday the 13th listening to this, or maybe you're listening to this on a Tuesday, August 12th in the year 2035. I don't know. But next up, we're going Killer. We covered Freddy, Killer. What was before Freddy? What we just covered just before Freddy? Do you?
Evil Dead. No.
Oh, so there's killing happening. That we're doing a lot of killing theme. We're going to continue it. Next, we're going to be talking about Free Willy, the killer whale. Free Willy 2.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Free Willy's not a killer.
No, I know, but he's a killer. It's killer.
He's a killer whale.
It's putting it together. Connections. New York Times. Get on it. Play it. It's addictive. And for it, we talked to somebody that Jamie knows, the cousin of. We went to He talked to him at a block party. They're talking sequels, podcasts. Boom, it gets brought up, and I talked to a new friend of the podcast, Neal Matarazzo from Pequannock, New Jersey. Grew up here, so it's cool to talk to a fellow Jerseyan about his journey to Hollywood and how it all came to be, and great stories about the people he knows in the biz. Currently what he does, teaching acting in New York City on Tuesdays. So some really cool stories about that. Playing a cop a lot on TV. So it was definitely the conversations that I love, the origin story, roles in the career. But it was also like about the business too. He talked about the commercial work prior to, because he was out in LA 4 years before he got a movie about Bigfoot. And then he goes from that, where people are like having to beg for their per diem every day, to like Free Willy. When he got there, they gave him an envelope full of cash just for his per
That's
diem.
awesome.
So Neal was awesome. I can't wait to talk Free Willy too. I have the VHS somewhere, so maybe I'll watch this one on VHS. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only, and don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Nice.
Good night, guys.
All right, man.